All right. Here we are. Live again from Northeast Texas. It is the Bible Guy Show. Today's topic is, why should I become a Christian? So, let's see if anyone today has any good reasons for me to become a Christian. Somehow, I kind of doubt it. Hello, Ordinary Mystic and Ben McLaren. Am I coming through? Can everyone hear me? No. All right, 1 second. Wait a minute. You just said, yeah, you can. Fuck me. Good on TikTok. Fantastic. Yeah, we still. So here's the thing. In order to dual stream on YouTube and TikTok, apparently I need something called a stream key for my TikTok, and also like the address of my TikTok server, and I might not have access to those things yet. But I've messaged people at TikTok and see if they'll be able to get back to me so that we can like start doing that. Let's see. So everyone just make sure you tap that screen. Share the live with those you love, with those you hate, with your friends, and with your enemies. Tap that screen like King David wanted to tap Jonathan. Let's see. Good on TikTok. Do you have a moment for a question from a friendly? Sure. I don't have any opposition right now, so feel free to come on up and ask your question. Just gonna do. By the way, love the name. Real quick, Everlasting Godstopper. You're friendly, but are you at least 18 years old? And what are your pronouns?
I am he, him.
All right. Everlasting Godstopper. What's your question?
Yeah, Dalton. I've heard you say that you place, along with most of scholarship, you place Clement in first century. And I think I'd asked you a question a couple of weeks ago in a comments section about the Shepherd of Hermas connecting Clement to more of a second century time frame.
Yeah. Do you know what portion of the Shepherd of Hermas that is?
I did at the time. I could look it up real quick. I want to say, let's see what. Hang on a second. Let me look into this.
Yeah. Go ahead and find that citation, like the chapter and verse from Shepherd of Hermas, or just chapter if the copy you have doesn't have a verse.
It's I just looked it up. It's Vision 2, chapter 4, verse 3.
243.
Yep.
All right, I'll have to go and look that up after the live's over. 243.
Yeah.
Do you have my Discord?
I'm in the Deconstruction Zone Discord, so I could probably find you there, right?
Yeah, and then just friend me, and then make sure you to write that down so I'll be able to read it later.
Perfect. Will do.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming up.
All right. Yeah, thanks, buddy.
All right. Hi, Ashland. How you doing?
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
Doing good. Saw the Bible that you are going to buy pretty soon. Pretty cool.
Oh, no, I already bought it. It was only like $12.
Oh.
By the way, guys, there's an NRSVUE on Amazon. It's like 50% off. It's $12. So I got it just to do annotations in, so I don't have to mark up my other Bible.
All right, our first guest for the day is going to be Christian Lane 145. Christian, I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions I ask every single one of my guests, irrespective of who they are. Question number 1, are you at least 18?
Yes.
Question number 2, are you a Christian?
Yes.
Question number 3, what are your pronouns?
He, him.
All right, Christian, he, him. I'm Dalton the Bible guy. Tell me, why should I become a Christian?
So I think that's a very vague question. There's not one reason I can give you of why you should. It's more of a personal thing that you have to seek out.
I have.
So I will say, Christianity is vastly different than any other world religion. It is
Every religion's vastly different from every other world religion. Every religion
right,
is unique in its own manner.
except every other religion teaches salvation at the end. It's something you work for, whereas Christianity teaches salvation by the grace of God alone.
Depends on what version of Christianity you're talking about. The oldest forms of Christianity teach that salvation is something that is attained at the end of one's life, or that it's a process, that only those who endure to the end shall be saved.
So that's sanctification. There's a difference in sanctification.
It doesn't say in the text, those who endure
Sanctification.
unto the end shall be holy. It says those who endure to the end shall be saved.
So it also says
You're probably a Protestant, aren't you?
I'm non-denominational actually,
So yes,
but
that's a Protestant.
it would fall under a Protestant. Yeah, I'm non-denominational actually,
So yes,
but
that's a Protestant.
it would fall under a Protestant. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Hold on.
the oldest forms of Christianity that survive to this day don't believe what you believe. Hello?
So did you know the oldest forms, the way they read the Bible is different than how we read the Bible now. We have new translations, which some people argue they're not valid because it's just, they bring up the whole King James thing, but
Yeah, King James is pretty
the
shitty.
way the way the Bible was translated, it's not just black and white. King James was mad. Before the King James version, there was something called the Geneva translation.
Yeah, it's bad translation as well. But like, this doesn't tell me why I should become a Christian. You're just so your point is that Christianity is unique and therefore it's true. How does Christianity being unique make it true?
So are you familiar with the quantum field theory?
No, and neither. I'm pretty sure. Are you a quantum physicist?
No, but I do study quantum physics.
And by study quantum physics, you mean what exactly?
I study quantum physics. I dedicate a lot of my time to that.
Listen, unless you're an actual physicist, I'm just not going to trust your input on quantum physics. It's like the most difficult form of physics, and I'm not qualified enough to even know whether or not what you're going to tell me is true. So let's not do the quantum physics route. If you want to prove why I should be a Christian, why someone should be a Christian according to quantum physics, maybe you should talk to Blitz about that.
So we can talk about what I was going to talk about, but not go as deep as quantum physics. Consciousness, that's a big thing, right? It's a non-material, it's metaphysical,
No.
right? So it can't be.
Consciousness is physical.
Consciousness is not physical.
Sure it is. It's
And
just
the close.
Yes, it is. We have evidence, new evidence, especially that it's a combination of the cerebral cortex and internal bodies of the brain.
Right. So we know what consciousness comes from. But
Yeah, the brain. It's physical.
conscious, the brain is. Consciousness isn't.
Yeah, no,
Consciousness.
the brain produces the internal sensations and thoughts that we're having. It produces everything that we're experiencing, therefore it produces consciousness.
So
Can you name one faculty of the mind that isn't produced by the brain?
what do you mean?
Is there anything that you do in your mind that cannot be explained by the brain?
So it can be measured, but consciousness, obviously it comes from the brain, but it goes deeper than just coming from the brain. You cannot measure.
Do you have evidence?
Yes.
Okay, what's the evidence?
The physical world is measurable data. Like you can measure the neurons firing, the neurotransmitter and electrical signals.
No, the brain isn't electric synapses, though we have some. That's more like a goldfish tail. We have chemical synapses in the brain, in the central nervous system specifically.
That's why I said chemical neurotransmitters.
You said electrical. We do not have electrical synapses.
Well, I said electrical signals.
No, they're chemical signals.
No. I did. I said the chemical neurotransmitters and electrical signals.
But they're
They
not
aren't electrical signals.
No,
They're
they're
chemical
They're
signals.
different things. We
Yes.
have electric signals, but we
In
also
our
have
peripheral
chemical.
nervous system, there are minor ones, but in our central nervous system, they're generally dominated by chemical.
Right, but I'm not arguing that.
Exchange of ions is not by itself an electrical signal.
So I said chemical neurotransmitters and electrical signals, both chemical and electrical.
Not in the central nervous system.
Okay. Anyways,
By the way, I am qualified to speak on this. This is my field of study.
right. Consciousness involves qualia, and that's
Qualia.
that's the raw subjective qualitative feeling of an experience. That's
that's all
your
happening in the
experience.
brain.
You can know every physical fact
I
about the
love
brain.
I love that you talked about qualia, right? Because if it is the case that you're saying that qualia is something that's outside of the brain, then I shouldn't be able to give you something like a D2 receptor agonist and see active changes, like risperidone, for example, is an antipsychotic that we use. I should not be able to see your qualia change, but we do when we give you this medication.
No, I'm not saying it's outside of the brain.
Then
That's
what
not what I'm
is?
saying. Every single physical fact about the brain you can measure, right? But
Well, eventually.
but you cannot, and we will not ever be able to know a person's what's the word?
When did you?
We will not be
I'm,
able to
I'm
know that person's subjective.
I'm interested to know when you gained the ability to know the future.
You think we'll be able to measure?
I don't know, but
Context.
I'm not gonna sit here and say we'll never have the ability to do that.
Even with
What did you say we can measure?
consciousness, we can't.
We do.
So we can
We
measure
have.
brainwaves. No, to measure consciousness would mean you're taking that person's subjective experience and you're putting it like you're putting it on a monitor. You're able to hear the sounds and have the same
We might be able
feelings that
to.
they're.
We might be able to do that one day. You don't know. Don't make claims about the future. You can't
Just because we
substantiate them.
can't like reproduce the first person subjective experience, like on some sort of machine, doesn't mean that we're not able to see and measure what like consciousness is.
You can measure it.
We know where it happens in the brain, so we know that it's happening in the brain, right? Because we've discovered that. So you have no evidence to suggest that it's outside the brain anywhere.
The evidence. I'm not saying it's outside the brain. You can't physically measure consciousness itself. You can measure brain waves. You can measure the neurons firing. You can measure all of this. You cannot measure consciousness. The perspective, the subjective feelings that person is having. You cannot measure that.
Sure, we can.
Can you show me a study where they have been
We
able?
can measure where it's happening in the brain.
Well,
That's a
where it's
measurement. Yeah, we know that it's happening not just in the cerebral cortex, but in other areas. So consciousness is an overlap between our inner and outer brain. So we know that it's not just one part. And the reason why is we used to have this harder problem of consciousness that was saying like, oh, it's the cerebral cortex, but then we've had people that had most of the cerebral cortex like missing, and newer research is showing us that it's actually an indication of things in the inner brain and the outside, like the limbic system, the medulla. All of these things are working together to create consciousness.
Okay, so I have an analogy. If somebody is in a room, a black and white room, their whole life, everything they see is black and white. But they study color vision and learn every physical fact about the brain's color perception. Whenever that person is finally released and sees the color, she learns something new, and it
Can you
is
just give me? Can you just give me evidence that there's this thing happening outside the brain instead of whatever this is? Because you made the claim that it's not just inside the brain. So in order
I-
to
when did I
convince
say
me, Dalton, am I being gaslit or did he say that?
No, yeah,
I-
you're accurate to what you're asking.
Okay, so if it is the case that it's not just inside the brain, like all the bodies of evidence that we have, you're going to have to provide me evidence of it being somewhere else.
Okay, what about a box jellyfish?
What about it?
Box jellyfish don't have brains, yet they produce similar.
Yeah, it can just be reacting to stimuli. That happens all the time.
But that's not the case. They've already done the studies, right? Jellyfish.
I don't know about the box jellyfish specifically. I'm pretty sure everything that we do know outside is just responding to stimuli. They don't need a central nervous system. They're in fact some of the reflexes that you have are just a response to stimuli, like the knee-jerk reaction is one of them. It actually happens in your peripheral nervous system prior to reaching the brain. That pullback reflex that you have, plenty of species have that.
I am not even 1% closer to being a Christian at this point in this conversation. Do you have anything better, Chris?
So, yeah, I do, but I was going with that argument, the consciousness, because nothing that we have now, and even with quantum physics, no theory can
Don't talk
explain.
about fields of science that you're not educated in, please. And
Well, I am, but
you went to school for and you studied physics.
I can tell you, you didn't study biopsychology.
Because there's nothing that annoys me more than when Christians come up here and talk about quantum physics and try to use it in order to basically talk about magic, but use the scientific language to talk about magic.
no, I'm not talking about magic.
Okay, well, you're allowed to talk with quantum physics with Dr. Blitz. I won't be able to confirm here and now what you're saying is true.
Okay. Back to what we were saying before. Christianity is vastly different from every other world religion.
Islam is vastly different from every world religion too. The Norse myths
But
were vastly
they have the same premise.
Yeah, every religion's got something unique to it. The uniqueness,
Well, yeah, that one thing.
the uniqueness of a religion doesn't tell me whether or not it's true.
So it does when it's one of those core foundational beliefs.
Except for your core foundational, what you claim is core and foundational about Christianity is just what's core and foundational to Protestant Christianity. No Christian
It's
prior
core-
to the 1500s believed what you believe about salvation.
That's not true. Paul preached exactly what I'm saying.
Paul believed that you could that salvation was a process.
No, Paul believed salvation was through the grace of God alone.
And that
That's
it was a process that you had to be obedient to Christ, or else you would have no place in the world to come. You could do things and lose your salvation, which was why Paul often used the analogy of having to run the race. And saying things like, I don't even count myself as having finished.
So I feel like you're taking that out of context here. I'll pull up some verses.
So you're under the apprehension that Christianity doesn't require you to do anything.
No, that's not at all what I'm under the presumption, right? Because we know as Christians, you follow Jesus. That's sanctification, right? Trying to walk as Jesus walked. But everybody,
no Christians doing that, but
right.
Well,
So everybody has sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Everybody will sin. But that's where the grace comes in, and you are saved by grace. There's no acts that you can do to save yourself, is what that means.
actually, belief is an act. That's something you do. And confession is also something you do. If you confess the Lord Jesus, then you will be saved. That's an act.
No, that
is by definition. Confession is a verb. Is it not?
Yeah.
All right, then that's an act. That's something you do in order to be saved. And if you don't do that thing in your particular form of Christianity, then you won't be saved.
Yeah, even in psychology, we consider thoughts as in behavior. So behaviors would be actions. So even within our field, we do.
So that's a fallacious interpretation of the New Testament doctrine.
Well, there is no such thing
It's
as
the fallacy
there's
of-
no such thing as the New Testament doctrine. There are many different dogmatic perspectives of the authors of the New Testament, because the New Testament is not a singular univocal text. Each author brings to the table their own theology, and sometimes that theology doesn't agree with each other.
So that would be the fallacy of equivocation, right? That would misrepresent the meaning, the theological meaning of works versus faith.
There is no such thing as the theological meaning of the New Testament. Again, this is assuming inerrancy and univocality, which you have not yet established.
So in Pauline theology,
sure, Paul had his own version of
Works.
Christianity.
right, works or works of the law refer to human effort, like performance and ritualistic adherence.
Sure, Paul
intended to earn.
Paul didn't think that you could be saved by doing things like circumcision or keeping the feast and stuff like that, but he did believe you had to work out your salvation with fear and trembling.
The act of confessing is just a human response of submission.
Yeah, it's an act. It's something you do in order to be saved. I'm sorry, but your contention here that Christianity is unique in that it doesn't require you to do anything to be saved is simply not the case. It might be what your particular form of Christianity teaches, but even if it were true that Paul did teach that no works whatsoever and you'll be saved, the uniqueness of Christianity would not make it true. It would just mean that Paul had his own unique theology that became predominant in Protestantism.
So with your argument that it's an act to believe, you're basically saying that it's the same to receive a gift and the same thing to pay for a gift. It's completely different, because receiving is also an act.
Sure.
And paying for a gift is also an act.
Sure, it's something you have to do.
So act in that sense is just receiving. That's all you're doing. You're receiving. You're not paying.
But Paul
anything.
also believed that if you did not walk in accordance with what Jesus taught, that you would be stripped of your salvation.
Well, right, because if you truly receive,
there are things you have to do.
So no. If you truly receive God, right? If you truly receive and accept Jesus, and you get the Holy Spirit, you
will walk like Christ, right?
Well,
You won't be
I,
perfect.
I,
You won't be perfect.
there are no Protestants that are actually walking like Christ. Jesus was Jewish, you know. He kept the law of Moses. I don't think you do that. So you aren't walking
So
like
the
Christ.
Mosaic law was fulfilled with Jesus.
I don't think you know what that means.
The Mosaic law
What is
was
it?
the law
What
under
is
the
it? What does it mean to
Israelites.
fulfill the law? What does that word fulfill mean?
He fulfilled the law. So
Okay, what does that
I
mean?
can find you a verse.
I know the verse, Matthew 5:17. The question is, what does it mean for Jesus to fulfill the law? Because I'll tell you what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean abolish the law. If you're
Well, yeah, that's what it says. Matthew 5:17. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them.
All right. So
And
if
the Greek word is
pleroma,
it
to
means
make it full.
just yes.
Yes,
There
I
you
know.
go.
And by detracting from the law, you're not making it more full. You're taking away from it.
He's not. That's not what he's doing.
No, that's what Paul did, and that's what you do. Jesus totally taught the law of Moses, and he taught his followers that they need to observe the law of Moses. In fact, not only does he say you need to follow the law of Moses, he said that you need to follow the law of Moses in the way that the Pharisees prescribe,
Yeah. You know why?
because he was Jewish, and he was a
That goes.
stalwart advocate for the law of Moses.
Sorry, I was helping my wife. Here, I'll find you another verse because that's actually explained.
By Paul? Are you able to from Jesus' own words substantiate this idea that you as a Christian don't have to observe the law of Moses anymore? Or is it only from Paul that you're getting this idea? Because if you're not getting it from Jesus, it doesn't look like you're really a follower of Jesus so much as you are a follower of Paul. Christian?
So Jesus lived and taught under the old covenant, the Mosaic law.
Sure, but I don't care about covenant
He was
because
born
I care
and
about
died
the
as a
law.
Jew.
Sure, and what did he teach his followers to do? Even after the resurrection, he said, "Go ye therefore, preach the gospel to all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe whatever I have commanded you," which would include everything that came prior to Matthew chapter 28.
So Matthew chapter 5, verse 17 through 18. I'm sure you are aware.
Do not think that I've come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. Verily I say to you, until heaven and earth passes away, which it hasn't, not a jot or tittle will pass from the law till all is fulfilled. All is not yet fulfilled. Therefore, whoever breaks the least of these commandments, which would include kosher laws, and teaches others to do so, will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does and teaches them the same will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. By Jesus' own words, Paul would be the least in the kingdom of heaven because he taught his followers they don't have to keep kosher and they don't have to circumcise their young anymore.
So at the time of that sermon, the law did not achieve its goal. And
You're
the law,
quoting Paul
the
again.
goal.
Quoting
So
Paul.
the goal
You're quoting
was
Paul
the point.
again.
Okay.
Are
It says,
are you
until
are you
everything-
are you able to substantiate this teaching about the law from Jesus?
What do you mean?
Like your theology that you as a Christian don't need to observe the law of Moses anymore. Are you only getting that from Paul's teaching, or can you substantiate that from the mouth of Jesus?
So yeah, I can substantiate that from Jesus. So in Matthew chapter 5, verse 21 through 30, it's showing the infinite reach of the law. He taught that do not murder included internal anger.
Okay,
And
that isn't an abrogation of the law. That's only
Right,
furthering.
so-
That's only furthering the law. By the way, what Jesus is doing here in the Sermon on the Mount is something which was common within Judaism. It's a concept called building a fence around the Torah. It's when you add extra stipulations And the purpose of adding the extra stipulations was to safeguard the base commandment. This is not Jesus saying you don't have to keep the law anymore. This is him actually taking it further so you definitely don't break it.
Romans chapter 10, verse
That's
4.
not Jesus. You're going to Paul again.
Okay, so back to what I was saying, right? By Jesus explaining that murder is also internal anger and wishing that on somebody, and adultery is lustful thoughts and so on. That is showing he's demonstrating no one could ever perfectly keep it, right?
Well, depends on who you ask. The author of Luke would disagree, but that's another entire matter altogether. But perfection, absolute perfection, keeping the entirety of the Torah, that was never a requirement from God. But again, even if it was true that, yeah, you can't keep the Torah perfectly, that doesn't mean that Jesus said you don't have to keep the Torah. Nothing he taught said that. You're only getting that from Paul. You should call your religion Paulianity, not Christianity. Love the headdress, by the way. You look like a shaman.
So
It's a penguin blanket.
Luke chapter 7, verse 48 through 50.
All right, Luke
Um,
chapter 7, verse what?
48 through 50.
All right, let's take a look here. Parable of the two debtors. Let's see. And he said, and she said to her, "Your sins are forgiven." Then those who were at table with him began to say among themselves, "Who is this who even forgives sins?" And he said to the woman, "Your faith has saved you. Go in peace." All right. I don't see here where he's saying now you don't have to keep the law of Moses.
No, so again, because he was alive during this,
But he also said to his
right?
disciples
Because
after his resurrection to tell everyone to observe everything which I have commanded you.
So in this, right, Jesus is granting the forgiveness just based on our faith.
What do you think faith here means what does faith mean in a Jewish context? Jesus was Jewish?
I'm not sure.
So the Hebrew word for faith it's emunah. It doesn't mean this idea of willy-nilly just believing in something in your head, and that's faith. In the Jewish context, faith means fidelity or obedience, loyalty, steadiness. It implies that you're doing something, and your doing of something demonstrates that you have trust and faith and fidelity to God. So again, this is not Jesus teaching, therefore Christians, you don't need to keep the law of Moses.
Matthew chapter 8, verse 10, when Jesus healed the servant.
Matthew 8. Let's see. We're just going all over the place. Matthew 8 what?
Verse 10.
All right. When truly I said to you, when Jesus heard him, he marveled and said to those who followed him, "Truly I say to you, not even in Israel have I found such faith." Okay, and
So the favor and salvation is granted outside the covenant law. Just
why are you
on the
focused
basis
on
of
why?
Jesus' authority.
Yeah, he was a Gentile.
And that was before then, right? Jews were the only ones that could be saved.
No.
Okay, can you prove that?
Yeah, have you ever read the Old Testament?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, Isaiah 65. Let's see. Or is it 56? One second. I'm sorry. Isaiah 56. Let's see. Thus says the Yahweh, keep justice and do righteousness, for soon my salvation will come and my deliverance be revealed. Blessed is the man who does this, and the Son of Man who holds it fast, who keeps the Sabbath, not profaning it, and keeps his hand from doing any evil. Let not the foreigner who has joined himself to Yahweh say, Yahweh will surely separate me from his people. And let not the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. For thus saith Yahweh to the eunuchs who keep my Sabbaths, who choose the things that please me and hold fast my covenant, I will give in my house and within my walls a monument and a name better than sons and daughters. I will give them an everlasting name which shall not be cut off. And the foreigners who join themselves to Yahweh to minister to him and to love the name of Yahweh and to be his servants, everyone who keeps the Sabbath and does not profane it and holds fast my covenant, these I will give, bringing to my holy mountain, and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices will be accepted on my altar, for my house shall be called the house of prayer for all peoples. So no, this idea that under the old covenant, Gentiles had no place in the world to come is simply just a Christian misunderstanding of the text.
So back to
why again? So maybe we need to rein this back in because why should I be a Christian?
so back to Matthew chapter 5 verse 18. The very last part, until everything is accomplished,
Which it
and
hasn't.
that is pointing directly to his completed work, his perfect and sinless life, and his
No.
atoning death.
It's pointing towards the fulfillment of all prophecies, which hasn't occurred
No,
yet.
it's pointing towards the fulfillment of the covenant, not all biblical prophecies.
No, because prior to this, he says, "Do not think I've come to abolish the law or the prophets." When he says all shall be fulfilled, he means everything written in the law and the prophets.
Yeah, and then he says until
Which would
everything
include-
is complete.
Yeah, which are the things found in the law and the prophets.
He's saying nothing will disappear from the law, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen, will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished.
Yeah,
Right?
everything in the law and the prophets. Number Matthew 5:17 is about the law and the prophets. Everything in the law and the prophets has not come to pass.
So does it say the prophets?
Yes, 5:17. Think not that I have come to abolish the law and the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. Are all things written in the prophets fulfilled?
What do you mean?
Are the words of the
Are
prophet
you talking about the Revelations?
Revelation, which is not the book of the prophets? Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Hosea, Nahum, these books have lots of prophecies that have not yet been fulfilled.
Okay, what are those
For
that
example,
haven't yet?
that the Jewish people will be gathered from all corners of the world, brought back to the land of Israel, that the temple will be rebuilt and the sacrificial system with the Levite priests will be reinstituted, that the Torah will go forth from the ends of the earth, and that peace will be brought to the whole world. That hasn't happened. Jesus hasn't fulfilled that. Christian?
Yeah, hold on, I'm reading something.
What are you reading?
Micah 5 verse 2.
Why Micah 5:2? Jesus didn't fulfill that either.
Oh, he did.
He didn't.
That's about his birth.
It's not. Well, I don't see the word birth anywhere in Micah 5:2. What it says is, "Ve'ata Beit Lechem Ephrata Atzir Lechayot Be'efi Yehuda," and you, Bethlehem of Ephrathah, who are little among the clans of Judah, from you shall come forth for me one who is to be Moshel Bar Yisrael, a ruler in Israel. Jesus was never a ruler in Israel.
No, he was the king of the Jews, right? That's why he was crucified.
There was no king of the Jews in Jesus' time. He wasn't one.
So, what version of the Bible are you reading?
The Masoretic text.
The Masoretic text.
ואתה בית לחם החלטת אציל לחיות באלף יהודה ממך יצא לחיות משה בישראל ומוצאתיו מקדם מימי עולם. And you, Bethlehem Ephratah, from you shall come forth from me, though you are little among the clans of Judah, from you shall come forth for me one who is to be ruler in Israel, whose origin is from old, from ancient days.
So, how is that not Jesus?
He wasn't a ruler in Israel.
Have you ever read the NIV?
Yeah, it's a shit translation.
No, because the NIV was written based
What?
on the manuscripts
Can
that were found in the Dead Sea
No.
Scrolls.
The NIV
It
translators
was.
specifically mistranslate many texts in order to make them sound Christological in nature. For example,
No, so
yeah,
the KJV, like we were talking about earlier, the KJV,
is also a shitty translation.
was translated using the Geneva translation, and there's another one. There was three, but I can't remember. I just remember the Geneva one, and the king at the time, it wasn't
It's
King
not even.
James. It was his.
It's a dynamic translation. It's not even that good. The NIV.
They didn't even have the Dead Sea Scrolls when translating the King James.
No,
So
no, no. That's what I'm saying. The NIV came after, and they did have the Dead Sea Scrolls
It's not a
when
good.
they translated.
Yeah, and that's not a good translation still because it's a dynamic translation. It doesn't give you. It's not word for word telling you what the original text says. It's more of a thought for thought. And when you translate thought for thought in a manner of thought for thought translation, this introduces into the text the bias of the translator.
So It wasn't translated by one person. It was actually
I
translated
know by a committee of people from a very specific denomination.
no, from every. They didn't just have one denomination. Are you aware of that?
Even if they didn't, it's still a bad
And
translation.
they
It's even
they
it's
split
still a
them
bad
up.
it's still a bad translation. I can show you how it gets mistranslated if you want an example.
The same way the KJV was translated. Everybody has the misconception that
Yeah,
King James,
you're never gonna sell me on the NIV. It's a bad translation.
the KJV.
it's I can pull up like I have an NIV right
Also,
here.
the NIV is missing certain verses as well.
Yeah. It doesn't translate like slave in Exodus 20:17. That's really problematic because the word itself was slave. So it uses like this soft language to
White
make it more palatable to you.
whitewashing
So are you?
It,
the language of the
yeah, it
Bible.
whitewashes it. Yeah, a lot.
I urge you to look into how they're actually translated because
I read Hebrew.
We're familiar.
I read Hebrew.
We're familiar. And I have an NIV right in front of me, and I have the KJV, and I have the NRSVUE, because I like to compare the translations in the physical copies. And I know because when I look up verses, I compare them, and I know that the scholarly source is the NRSVUE. And sometimes Dalton and I even have conversations about what the Hebrew says, because not all the times that the NRSVUE translates in the way that I think that it would be, especially in feminist topics. But that's a whole nother story. So no, the NIV is not a great translation. It's not even a scholarly translation.
No, not at all.
so again back to the KJV. It was translated off of these three that were written in English because before then they
I don't.
were.
Christian, why should he believe in the Bible? I don't know what this has
Or
to do
why
with
should I
the topic.
become a Christian? Yeah, the NIV.
Yeah, sorry.
The NIV Bible is not going to get me to become a Christian. It's a bad translation. You're not going to be able to change my mind on that. From someone who speaks Hebrew, it's a shit translation. I would much rather read the New Revised Standard Version of the edition
Also,
if I'm going to read an English translation.
the NIV also gets rid of the weirdest verses in existence, but yet doesn't actually get rid of the verses that aren't in the original text.
So are you again with translation? They find these manuscripts.
Yeah, so
Here.
in the original manuscripts, by the way, what is it where Jesus says, "He who not cast the first stone"? I cannot remember. It's John something.
The Pericope Adulterae.
It's
John
John
7:53.
Yeah,
Yeah.
John 7.53 or John 8.
That story is not in the original text. However, it is in the NIV. However, the NIV also gets rid of verses such as Matthew 17, verse 21.
Here, let me give you a good example, Christian. Can you open up Isaiah 7:14? Let me show you how your Bible specifically goes about translating the mistranslating the text in order to make it sound more Christological in nature.
Isaiah what?
7:14. And give it a
You want me to read it?
Yeah, read it.
Therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son and will call him Emmanuel.
Now, here's a problem. In the original Hebrew, there is no virgin in the text. What the text actually says, when translated accurately, is, therefore the Lord himself will give to you a sign. Behold, the young woman is pregnant and will have a son, and she will call his name Emmanuel. No reference to a virgin. And it doesn't say she shall conceive, future tense, but she is pregnant, present tense. They translate it the way that your Bible says in order to make it sound as if it's prophesying the virgin birth of Jesus. But it's not.
So it says Alma,
Ha'alma
the Hebrew
hara.
word.
Yeah, the young woman is pregnant. Ha'alma hara.
It's just Alma.
No, it's ha'alma.
That's all.
It's ha'alma. It has the definite article. You're reading the little notes at the bottom. I guess the little notes at the bottom are not telling you that the he hayadia, which is the definite article, precedes the word
No,
alma.
I just looked it up.
Then you should see that before the word alma, there's a letter hey there, isn't there? Ha'alma.
No, I just see Alma.
Oh my God! Here, 1 second. Let's see if I can do this thing. All
And
right.
that just means a young woman of marriageable age.
Yep. Doesn't mean she's
Implied to be a maiden.
doesn't mean she's a virgin. Doesn't mean that it doesn't tell you anything about her except for that she is young, and she is pregnant, and that's it. 1 second. I think I can actually. I'm trying to do this thing now where I can show my screen. Do you want to? No, I don't.
When they were translating Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14, the translators chose the Greek word parthenos, and that means virgin.
No, in classical Attic Greek, Parthenos doesn't always mean virgin. You know how we know that?
Sure. Explain.
Because in Genesis chapter 34, after Dinah gets raped, the text calls her in the Septuagint Parthenos. Is a woman who's just been raped a virgin?
What?
Is a woman who's just been raped a virgin?
I'm confused what you mean.
Okay, if a woman gets raped, I don't know what I'm speaking English here. If a woman gets raped, is she still? She's had sex with a man. Is she still a virgin?
So she didn't have sex with a man. She was
No.
raped.
What do you think that means?
She was raped.
What
So
is
you're
that?
telling-
What is that? No. What does that mean? Surely,
you're telling-
surely you know what those words mean.
So you're telling me if
I'm-
there's a lady and
No,
she
no, no,
comes
no.
up to you,
No,
and
no,
she
no, no.
says she's a virgin, and then she
Now,
and then you find
no.
out
Okay,
that happened to her.
no, stop. Now,
gonna tell her-
Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob, went out to visit the women of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hivite, the prince of the land, saw her, he seized her and lay with her and humbled her. And his soul was drawn to Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. He loved the maiden and spoke tenderly to her. It says he seized her and he laid with her. Was she a virgin after that?
No.
No, and yet in the Septuagint, verse 13, where it says that he loved the maiden, the Greek there in the Septuagint is partheno. I believe it's the dative form of parthenos.
Yeah, in poetic context,
It's not a poet. It's not a poem.
it was
It's a narrative.
No, but poetic context.
Neither Isaiah 7 nor Genesis 34 is a poem.
Genesis 34, verse 3. It's used even though she was no longer a biological virgin.
There's no such
because
there's no
the-
such thing as
because the
biological.
word-
There's no such thing as biological virginity.
Because the word, yeah, there is, but
No.
because the word
How do you tell?
retained the secondary connotation
There's
of
no
unmarried girl.
there's no such thing as biological virginity. Now she's not a virgin anymore. The text uses the word parthenos to describe her. So parthenos doesn't always mean virgin within classical Greek, and within Isaiah 7:14, it doesn't matter what the Greek translation says. The question is, what did the original Hebrew say? The original Hebrew does not use the Hebrew word betula, which means virgin. It uses the Hebrew word alma, which just means a maiden or a young woman. She could be a virgin or not a virgin. She could be married or not married. That word doesn't tell you. What we do know is that when it describes the young maiden in Isaiah 7:14, it doesn't say ha'alma tahare, the young woman shall become pregnant or shall conceive. It says ha'alma hara, the young woman is pregnant. As in when Isaiah gave that proclamation, whoever he was talking about was someone who was already pregnant.
So even if Parthenos can mean just young woman,
Mm-hmm.
the Hebrew alternative, Betula,
Is not present in any
was,
text.
yeah, but it was available to
They would,
Isaiah.
yeah, and he didn't use that word. He used the word alma. If he wanted to mean virgin, he would have said betula, but he didn't say that.
So because they chose Parthenos for Alma,
Parthenos doesn't tell
they
you.
understood the prophetic context.
No, they didn't. The
Yes.
translators of the Septuagint did not know some secret prophetic context that you're imposing upon the text. They saw the Hebrew word alma. They used the word Parthenos, which was a good translation for both Betula and Alma. But again, the original Hebrew says that the young woman is pregnant. Was Mary pregnant for 700 years? Nope. We got a runner. Can I get some track stars in the comment, everybody?
He might not have meant to run. That might have been a phone unaliving or something.
Well, we'll see if he returns. Now, our next guest, I don't think they are a Christian. I guess we'll find out. Satan, he, they. Are you?
Oh my God, that was a fucking accident. I
Okay.
don't even know how that happened.
I didn't
Holy
think.
shit.
I didn't think you were a Christian. I was just making sure.
No, I'm not. I'm ex-Catholic.
Okay. You have a good day. Sorry.
You too. Thank you. Sorry.
Just to tick the Christians off. W Satan.
Oh God. Street strength. I think
Hold
that,
on. Mod break. Everyone, if you could please, we're only at 7.8K likes, and there's 183 of y'all in here. Step it up, y'all. Step it up. If you could, repost, share at the live, send a heart me if you can. Do all the things. We appreciate every single one of y'all being here. And yeah, we wouldn't be possible without y'all. So thank you so much.
all right, we're gonna bring up our next guest, Street. I think they meant to write Strength Junkie. Street Strength Junkie. I'm going to ask you the same three questions I ask every one of my guests. Question number 1, are you at least 18?
Yes, hello.
Are you a Christian?
Yes, I am.
And then what are your pronouns?
Just man.
That's not a pronoun.
What's a pronoun? I'm not.
Pronouns are words like he, him, she, her, they, them. Which do you go by?
Just he.
All right. Street Strength Junkie, he, him. I'm Dalton, the Bible guy. Why should I become a Christian?
Why not?
Because I don't have any good reason to. If you leave the screen, I will not be able to hear you.
Oh, okay, no worries. So basically, Christianity is the most pure religion.
Ooh, pure is a bit of a that's a red flag word, but no, it's not pure. Your religion has borrowed so much from other religions. It's not. By what definition, by what criteria would your religion be quote unquote pure?
Based on Jesus.
Would you like to elaborate?
Yeah, so Jesus never sinned.
So, how should I know that? That's just a claim. Can you prove that?
I mean, that's why everyone believes in Jesus. All the Christians believe in Jesus for that
Do,
exact
do
reason.
you think Jesus ever added to or did away with any of the laws of the Hebrew Bible?
Like the Jewish Bible,
Yeah, the book, the 5 books in Moses. Did
the
Jesus
Torah.
add to or take away from any of the commandments of the Torah?
Um, I'm not really sure. I think he just kept it all the same, like, like he came, did this thing, and dipped.
And dipped. Interesting. So I don't have any good reason to think Jesus never sinned. He was just a man like anyone else.
Yeah, um, but he's like an example for us, like
Why?
that's why,
Why would I make him my example? Why would I make a Jewish man from 2,000 years ago my example?
because he never sinned. Bro, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if that's true. That's just a claim. Are you able to substantiate that claim? Other than just that, well, a lot of people believe that.
Well, yes, that is true. But like, for example, we had apostles that were following him,
Mm-hmm.
and the apostles, they saw him carry out his perfect life. He was perfect in every way, and God, in front of John when he was getting baptized, like even acknowledged, like, my son, you are perfect. Like,
Whoa, it doesn't say that in any of the 4 Gospels at baptism. This is my son in whom I delight, is what it said.
Yeah, but that's what it pretty much meant, because nobody
No.
else in history would have got that claim if they weren't perfect, right?
Oh no, King David. King David was called God's son.
Yeah, because we are all God's sons as well
Yeah,
at the same
so
time.
you can earn that title without being perfect. So again, this doesn't tell me
So,
why I should believe in Christianity, or I don't think it's true.
okay, no worries. I'm just gonna present my argument. So another one is like, Bible has so many cross references and predictions.
Oh, it has a lot of predictions, but they aren't really like fulfilled.
Yeah, all of them are getting fulfilled as we speak. Like the third temple is getting built in Israel, which is
No, it's
what's
not.
happening in Palestine. You know that, bro. You know that,
It's not being built right now. And even if it does, that's because people are actively working to make it a fulfilled prophecy. If the Hebrew Bible says Messiah will ride into Jerusalem on a donkey, and I know this, so I go to Jerusalem, find a donkey, and ride on it into Jerusalem, is that the fulfillment of prophecy, or is that something that I was aware of and I worked to make it happen? Is that supernatural, or is that just something that just happened because men made it work?
Yeah, but if somebody, let's say the Bible wasn't written 2000 years ago, it was written like today, yeah? And let's say I get some sign of like, imagine like I'm an apostle. I get some kind of enlightenment, and I'm like, from God, obviously, because that's how all the text was written.
Sure,
Like, they,
I would probably question that you actually received a divine revelation from God.
yes, no, I'm not claiming that I did or anything, but let's say just like hypothetically, and then let's say couple like 100 years, 1000 years, doesn't matter how many years later, the prophecy is fulfilled, but it's not just fulfilled as I'm writing it. It's like like many authors that wrote the same thing and same things. It's just cross references, bro.
Yeah, there are some cross references because guess what? The authors of later books of the Bible were aware of what authors from previous books of the Bible wrote, and they incorporated
No, they were not.
yes, they were. We know for a fact that
No, they were not.
the authors of the New Testament were aware of what was written in the Old Testament because they quote the Old Testament all the time. That they might have, there
Yes.
might be cross references within like some sort of theological milieu, is not. It's what you would expect because they were aware of what the previous authors wrote. There's also
I agree
contradictions
with
between the texts.
I agree with the New Testament, but how can you disprove the Old Testament?
Oh, I mean, we don't have any evidence that the Jewish people were ever enslaved in Egypt and that they had a mass exodus to the land of Canaan. We have no evidence that they were descendants of Abraham. In fact, all the data seems to indicate that they were all Canaanites. I mean, it's just, and also the fact that the book of Daniel doesn't seem to know who was king in Babylon and when. Seems like the author of the book of Daniel wasn't actually Daniel. Like, we have no reason to believe in the Old Testament.
Okay, but was Jesus Jewish?
So was who Jewish?
Jesus, was he born in Jerusalem? Was he Jewish?
No, he wasn't born in Jerusalem. The Bible doesn't even say that.
Okay, but was he like within the Jewish community? That's
Ye-
what I'm asking.
Yes, Jesus was a Jewish man. Therefore,
Was he rejected by the Jews?
some of them. There were,
Not some of them. He caused the chaos
yeah.
and got
Are
rejected
you
by most of them.
are you? Yeah, sure. Most Jewish people did not accept Jesus as the Messiah, just as most people didn't accept Menachem Mendel Schneerson to be the Messiah. So what?
So if he was predicted that he's gonna be rejected by his own people, do you know what I mean?
We don't have
That's a
any. We
prediction.
don't have any valid reason to think that Jesus ever said that he was going to be rejected by his own people. The Gospels make that claim about what Jesus said, but
Yes.
I don't trust the Gospels to accurately tell me what Jesus said. Can you tell me what sentence I said maybe 2 minutes ago, word for word?
Not really sure, bro.
Probably not, right? And yet I'm expected to believe that the authors of the Gospels, who wrote decades and decades and decades after Jesus' death, remembered what he said? Yeah, right.
Right, but is the way that it all happened, like the apostles, they got crucified and
No, they
persecuted for,
didn't.
you know, how did they not?
We have no evidence that any of the apostles were crucified. You
Bro,
have,
Roman Empire literally wanted to destroy Christianity,
well,
but
maybe
it turned into Vatican now.
wanted to, well, maybe Christianity was an illegal religion in the first century, and under Nero there was a minor persecution of the Christians, but they weren't really a big threat to the Romans. Like, they were like a small cult that hardly anyone knew anything about in the first century. And again, we don't know how any of the
Granted,
apostles died.
in Rome, it was illegal to be any other religion than the state religion. So,
Unless you had state approved, which the Jews in Rome had state approved to be like practice
that's
their
also because they
religion.
were their own little province in Rome.
Yeah.
Okay,
They
but
weren't technically Rome.
what about when Jesus says, "I am the truth, nobody comes to God
John,
except through me"?
I don't believe Jesus really said that. That's from the Gospel of John, which out of all four of the Gospels is the most legendary and mythological of the texts. Like, whoever wrote the Gospel of John obviously himself wasn't Jewish. And they have Jesus say things which no Jewish man would say. For example, in John chapter 10, Jesus is talking to the Pharisees, and he says to them in John 10:34, "Is it not written in your law, I said you are gods?" Thing is, first and foremost, Jewish man talking to another Jewish man would not say, "Is it not written in your law?" He would just say, "Is it not written in the law?" Secondly, he quotes from the Psalms, which is not the law. Obviously not something that the real Jesus would have ever said.
Bro, I get what you're saying, and you're trying to disprove this logically, and that makes sense, but life is not logical.
I mean, your religion's not logical.
For life isn't logical to you, maybe, but the rest of us are using it.
Yeah.
So it's logical that we just float on a boat and there's like 8 billion people that are alive here.
Is there a contradiction involved?
Yeah, there's millions of planets around and there's no life on them.
That
So
you know
what
of.
the hell are we doing here?
Does
Okay,
it? Does
if
it?
we look at a planet right now, we are seeing it millions of years in the past. We actually don't know what any other present planet outside of our solar system looks like.
Yeah, but we
Anyways,
see a bunch of planets around us
I
and there's
don't
no one on
really
those
care about
planets.
this. This is way off subject.
Yeah.
Why should we become Christians? Like, you still haven't given us a point. All you're saying is, well, it's illogical, which is actually saying why we shouldn't become Christians.
Because this is all you guys have to remember. Jesus was without sin.
I don't
And I know
believe
you guys
that.
are saying
Can you prove that
We
he was
don't.
without
We
sin?
don't believe. We don't even believe in sin. So why
Yeah.
would we care if he's without sin?
you don't believe in sin.
No, sin is specifically the breaking of God's law. And you can't really break God's law if God doesn't exist. You can break the law of an ancient Bronze Age people group, the Israelites, but I don't necessarily care about who is or isn't breaking the law of the ancient Israelites.
Are you guys
It's immoral.
atheists?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, that's perfect. So why would you believe in nothing rather than something?
I don't believe in nothing.
It's that no, we're not going to let you pivot to our world.
Something.
I don't believe in nothing.
It's that no, we're not going to let you pivot to our worldview. Why should we become Christians?
Yeah.
We're not doing this pivot game anymore. We let that
Thank
happen
you.
way too much last time.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Because it gives you hope. Like, it's amazing. It's
It doesn't.
beautiful. If you
Okay.
want to, I know.
It doesn't give me hope, and I don't think it's beautiful. The idea that if you don't believe this thing, then you are going to burn forever in torment and fire and gnashing of teeth is not beautiful. It's like gross. It's coercion. Your God's a big giant thug in the sky.
Guys,
And he really is shitty to women. So me as a woman especially does not want to believe in it. I mean, just look at it. Numbers, Deuteronomy, even in your 10 Commandments, women are compared to as property. I was just reviewing Judges 19. Holy effing crap! That is a disgusting text.
okay, but like, there's deeper meaning behind text, guys. It's not all like, oh, women are this and that. There's
Even if
natural
you,
order, which
even
explains
if
it
you
in
want
the
to believe,
Bible.
even if you want to believe there's a deeper meaning, the text is
Wait,
still
there's
disgusting.
natural order. The
Yeah,
natural
so
order is women being below men.
so God, men above, then
That's
women,
that's
then
not
children.
that's not natural. That's a
No, it's slaves and then children, by the way.
yeah. That's a contrived system.
Slaves.
That's a human.
Yeah, that's
That's a human created
What?
system. That's not nature.
you're making me less and less want to become Christian. You're actually doing the opposite effect. And I'm sure a lot of people in the chat just send a 1 if you're less likely to become Christian now. Because
I don't know if you're gonna become Christian or not. Like, I don't have a
Definitely not.
preference for
Definitely not
whether
after
I would
this
like you to
call.
become a Christian or not.
Definitely.
But look, guys, you guys are not bad people. Like,
I know
I
I'm
can
not.
see it in your faces.
Because I don't get my
But
morality from the Bible. I'm not a bad person. That's correct.
but morality is instilled in all of us.
I
yeah,
mean,
because of evolution.
yeah, not because of God.
Okay, we
So
agree
look,
on that point.
I'm gonna give you a bit more fairy tale. I'm sorry, like, if it's a bit like
If you can
out
give me
of the.
evidence for your fairy tale, then I'll believe and I'll become a Christian.
I'll explain how it works. It's up to you guys. You want to believe, you can believe. You don't
I
have to
mean, I
believe.
know
You
how
don't have to
Christianity
believe.
works. So you have any evidence for why I should believe in it, though?
Bro, first of all, you sound like you know about the Bible a lot more than me, and I believe the religion, and you actually don't.
Correct. I'm an
So
ex-Christian.
look at this. It's very simple. Even a kid will understand this. Like in the Bible, it says
A child
the
being able
the
to grasp
laws.
a child being able to grasp a subject doesn't tell me whether or not it's true. It just means it's simple. Simple doesn't always mean true. I can come up with this with a fairy tale that kids can understand. That doesn't mean that it's true.
Yeah, but simplicity is the basis of everything. Like the house, it needs to
No,
have a strong base, right?
quantum physics is true. It's not simple. So something being simple doesn't automatically make it true. Complex. Some things can be complex and also true. So
Bro, but to make quantum physics, do you need a strong base of like knowledge and mathematics and physics and
yeah,
everything else combined?
yeah. So
Exactly. So it's
simplicity
simple.
simplicity doesn't mean true.
Can you just give us a reason why we should become Christian?
Because you guys need to open your heart, and all the laws
If
are
I
already
if I
written
if I
on your heart.
if I open my heart, I will die. That's how
If
hearts
I
work.
Not
so
logically.
when I open my heart, it makes me less of a Christian because I validate LGBTQI plus people. I'm a feminist who thinks that women should be equal. I think that we should, feed the hungry. I mean, at least the Christianity represented in the United States doesn't seem to agree with this. I guess it would be dependent on what sect of Christianity we're looking at. But yeah, if I don't, if I open my heart, I'm actually going to wind up disagreeing with the Bible more often than not.
You have to fight for the good. It doesn't matter. It's good against evil. Everybody sees
And
that.
and
Like
the
it's
Bible
not
is and the Bible for the most part isn't good. Let's
Yeah. at all. Like
Prove that.
your
Prove that.
God
What do you
describes
mean?
himself as in Exodus 24 and 5. Your God
Yeah.
literally says, "I am a jealous God, punishing children for the inequity of parents to the third and fourth generation of those who reject me." That doesn't sound like a good God to me, does it?
Why
And
not?
Sounds like Kim Jong Un. Like, let me give you a real world. Let me give you a
I'm
real
not
world.
joking. I'm not
Let me
joking.
let me
Wait,
give
wait.
you let me give you a real world example, street
Bro, can I
junkie.
answer her? Sorry.
You know, this is in accordance with this thing. This is attacking onto what she just said.
Okay.
In North
Yeah.
Korea right now, are you familiar with North Korea?
Of course. Yeah.
The leader there, the dictator, has a policy that if you commit like a grave offense against the state, not only will you be punished, but so will your children and your grandchildren to the third and fourth generation will be punished because of what you did. Would you say that's good or bad?
That's bad. He's an evil dictator.
All right, Ashlyn, read again what Yahweh just said.
I have to read it. I
I
have it
know.
memorized.
I
I
see
am
the
a
point. I see
jealous
the
God,
point.
punishing children for the inequity of parents to the third and fourth generation of those who reject me. Don't say I look
Is
feral. It's a
Kim
penguin.
Jong-un a god?
Say what?
Is
Are
Kim
you gonna
Jong-un a
special
god?
plead? Are you gonna special plead for your God? Like if a human did the same things Yahweh did, like in Isaiah 13:16, where he allows for the rape of women, would you say it's bad if a human does it, but it's good if God does it?
It's not about it's good or bad. We're not allowed to question God's
Oh,
authority.
so basically your religion's just saying that because God's got the biggest stick, therefore he can do whatever he wants. Well, guess what? That's not good.
Divine command theory is disgusting.
Yeah, that kind of mindset, street junkie, can lead you to do the most horrific things if you think God is telling you.
But like, he's not telling me to do bad things.
Yeah, well, guess
That's what I
what?
don't get.
Well, what would okay? Let's say, street junkie. Let's say that you were living during the time of King Saul, okay, and the prophet
Yeah.
Samuel, who is a true prophet and speaks to God, says to King Saul and to you, part of the army, that I need you to go into the city of the Amalekites and to kill the men, the women, the children, and the babies, the infants who are suckling upon the breast of their mother. Kill them. What are you going to do?
If the God tells me that, yeah, I'm gonna do it because there's a reason for it.
And that's why your religion's shit. That's why I would never be join your religion because
Bro, but look,
divine
that's
command
Old
theory.
Testament. That's Old
It
Testament.
doesn't matter. Your God.
It does
Because
matter.
if
It's a
God
very big
because if
difference.
God changed his mind tomorrow and say, you know what, I know that I did the whole New Testament thing, but just like I changed my mind on the Old Testament, I'm going to change my mind again. And then he says to you, comes to you and says, "Oh, street junkie, I want you to go and unalive all this giant group of people." You do it if you knew that
Bro,
Yahweh was actually commanding you to do it, instead of like having like any sort of dignity and saying, no, I'm not going to obey you. That would be because that's wrong.
Bro, do you get it that if God created
If
all of our lives from the
Are
start to
you
finish,
if God did? See the thing is you're starting with if God did. So we can just reject that and then assume it's not true. Actually, not assume, use our best critical thinking and evidence. Have good evidence to say, no, it's not true. And then just not have to worry about that.
we don't have an argument for where we came from.
Actually, we do. It's
We,
abiogenesis.
we do, but that's not a part of this.
Yeah.
The fact is you don't have an argument for this being true. Therefore, we just could rely upon natural evidences.
just
We don't have
hypocritical.
to have an
What do you
answer. We
mean?
could literally say, I don't know, maybe I came from your mom's butt, and it's better than this book.
Okay, look, if God created all these planets,
I don't care about
the
ifs.
Earth,
Prove it. I don't care about ifs. Prove it.
look at the leaf.
Okay, I'm looking at the leaf.
Look at the
Can a human,
trees.
can a human
leaf-
create
Can
the
I
leaf?
get trees in the chat? Can
Well,
I get
actually-
some trees in the chat?
Well, actually, this is man-made, but it doesn't matter.
The natural
It doesn't
leaf.
matter. It doesn't matter if a man can produce a leaf. The leaves occur naturally within nature. No God
Where
required.
did the nature came from?
Nature's always existed.
Same as God.
No, you haven't demonstrated that God does exist. I can demonstrate that nature exists. It's all around us. I can just go outside and show you that nature does exist. That you can't demonstrate that the supernatural exists.
But for example, other religions, they all acknowledge Jesus, but they
No.
haven't accepted them.
Only one other religion outside of Christianity acknowledges Jesus, and that's Islam.
Yeah.
There's a couple. There's a couple, but those are like the weird religions that are like in between
Baha'i,
Christianity and Islam.
Baha'i, which is a Islamic a
There's
splinter
a couple
religion.
offshoots between like Christianity and Islam and the Near East. There's a
Chrislam.
couple small groups.
Yeah.
There's a small group. I know one of them where they believe they practice Jewish law, believe Jesus was the Messiah and Muhammad was the prophet. I just can't remember their name.
Baha'i. It's called Baha'i.
You should become a Christian just because it's better than believing in nothing.
I don't believe in nothing, and I don't care about what you think is better. I care about what's true. Either you can demonstrate that Christianity is true through evidence, or I don't want to believe it.
So what about Adam?
He didn't exist. There is no Adam.
Prove that he didn't exist.
No, prove that he did.
Humans can't humans cannot logically
Well,
come from
Straight.
two
There's
people.
text, Genesis, past
Hey,
thousands of
straight.
years.
I want you to prove to me that there's not an invisible floating teapot around Jupiter right now. Can you do that?
That's a stupid question.
No, it's not. It's just about it's just about as stupid as what about Adam? Same stupid question.
Yeah, you don't prove the negation. You prove the positive claim, and you're the one making the positive claim that Adam exists. So the burden
Yes.
of proof is on you, not on
Did
us.
Plato exist?
I
What
don't
does
know enough
Plato
about
have
Plato.
to do with Adam?
Yeah,
The
I don't.
Greeks exist.
Two very
Yes.
different time periods
I
here.
don't know.
Greeks-
The Greeks
Gre-
exist. We have a
Greeks
ton
and
of
Plato
evidence.
were
I agree.
before the time of Jesus.
Hey,
you guys believe in
Junkie,
those guys?
Junkie, shush. I know Greek. I've met a Greek. Okay, never met Adam. What's the evidence that Adam existed? Go, and don't just say, "Well, the Bible says so," because guess what? The evidence that Adam existed. Go, and don't just say, "Well, the Bible says so," because guess what? I'm just going to ask you, why should I believe the Bible when it says Adam's real?
But why do you believe in maths?
Because I can demonstrate math now. Again,
Math?
don't
I
pivot.
can experience
Stop
math.
trying to
wait.
Don't
stop
pivot, yeah.
stop trying to
Okay,
burden
let me
shift.
try to stop pivoting.
Yeah, stop trying to burden shift. You're the one making the claim that Adam existed. It's on you to demonstrate that he did exist.
He wrote the Genesis.
He didn't write Genesis.
Even in the Torah, it says Moses wrote the first 5 books, not Adam.
Yeah, so try again.
Okay, one of them guys wrote it. At the end of the day, the text
Why
is there. It's not
why should I believe that Genesis is true?
because it makes sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. It's a bad
It
argument.
does make sense.
Have you read the text?
Let's see. God
Bro.
uses magic to make a guy out of dirt, breathes into him, brings him to life, puts a tree in the garden which he knows that the man will eat and thus
Two
will lead to
trees,
his death.
two
Two trees.
trees.
One which is an immortality magic tree, one which is a tree which magically gives one the ability to know good and evil. Then a talking snake comes in and convinces the woman to eat it, which by the way the woman was made
talking snake with legs.
talking snake with legs, and which by the way the woman who was made out of the rib of the guy, and then God sends them out of the garden and they lived for 960 something years. No, none of that
Mind you,
makes
not to
sense.
mention, this story comes from a whole other fucking religion, not even original.
Yeah.
Bro, this is a story
And on
about good
top
and
of
evil.
that,
Yeah,
And in Genesis, the first chapter and the second chapter contradict each other.
Yeah.
Because in the second chapter, God doesn't
Stop
create
clinging
plants
on
before
to-
man. In the first chapter, plants were created before men walked the earth, and men were created all at once. Adam is nowhere in existence when he tells the men to go out and multiply.
God doesn't make
Which means
mistakes,
there are
but
two
humans
different
do.
stories. There are two different stories going on right now, and both of them don't make sense.
Like a little misinterpretations and stuff like that.
No.
Humans make mistakes,
Okay,
errors.
question.
I agree.
Okay, so
but-
you're telling me the book of Genesis isn't
Story,
reliable.
say in the Garden of Eden story, Adam is created before the animals and the plants. So why in the other version of the creation story, which is Genesis 1, why are plants and animals created before man?
Because it doesn't matter that much.
No, it
Do
does.
not get it.
If you're going to tell me that I should believe that Adam existed because Genesis says so, but Genesis isn't reliable and has contradictions about the story of Adam, I'm not going to believe it.
Okay, but numbers. What about numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Was that the same
Whoa,
numbers
my-
back
whoa,
5 million years
Jesus
ago?
Christ, my neck hurts from that huge
Arabic
pivot.
symbols. no, but yeah,
if we're going to do this, if everything was wiped out of society and everyone lost knowledge of all religions tomorrow, math would still return to where it was eventually.
Yeah,
even
Because math doesn't change.
Jay,
Math
that's
is
true. I
Jay, we're
agree.
not
literally
letting them pivot anymore. We let them pivot way too much the last live.
Yeah.
So no, the burden of proof is on you.
Look,
Numbers. I don't know what this has to do with. Why should we become a Christian? Your
if
argument's not compelling. In fact, factually wrong in many ways.
So this is your last chance to give me a good reason, and if you can't, we're gonna move on.
that's fine. Okay, if you wipe everything, you still know that murdering somebody is wrong because it's written in your heart, and the Bible reflects that. If you
No,
Are you sure
open
about
your
that?
eyes,
Because it took humans a couple thousand years to figure that one out, even without
well,
God.
that's what. If you believe in evolution, of course, of course. If you believe that we come from monkeys, of course.
no,
But
not
we
come.
didn't. We were
Not
always
monkeys,
smart. We were
Street,
created by
Street.
God.
Don't talk about evolution if you don't know anything about it. Evolution.
It is
We don't
monkeys, by
come.
the way. Just
It's
FYI, I've talked to a
apes.
biologist on
Old,
this.
old
Yes,
world
it's
monkeys.
it's old world monkeys.
Yeah,
It's
Yes.
there
animals.
there are no existing monkeys or apes that exist today that humans came from. That's not what
There
evolution.
we go. Yeah.
Are humans animals?
Yes,
No, we're not.
yes. What?
We
What's
quite literally are.
Tell
We
me. What's the
literally have animal characteristics.
what defines what an animal is? Tell me what an animal is.
Animal is a species that cannot think, like they can't store memory for a long time.
Okay, then
Most animals store
What?
memories
Wow,
for
elephants
several.
elephants are now not animals.
Yeah, but like, can elephants do
Elephants
maths?
Elephants
elephant
have a
Elephants
better
do
memory than
maths.
humans.
well
Can elephants do maths?
a horse, a Clydesdale
a,
once did.
a chimp can do
Okay,
math.
can they
A
do
chimp can do
quantum?
a
Can they
chimp
create a computer?
a chimp
Can they create a
chimpanzee
computer?
chimpanzees can do math.
Can they create a computer?
Doesn't matter.
Probably if you give them enough shit to
The
work
ability.
with.
Doesn't matter.
The
You
ability.
know,
Guess
they,
what? Guess what? Guess what? The people who lived 5,000 fucking years ago also couldn't build a computer. That doesn't mean that they were. That doesn't mean that they were like
We
less.
all of a sudden came in what
yeah, but monkey
the
can't build
early
a house.
or the early I
Okay.
don't know when the computer was invented,
Wait.
but humans only became humans in the early 1900s. I'm guessing that's
I'm.
when computers or like
It's
proto computers started being.
shush.
Okay, guys, that's fine.
Am I done?
Let's just
Sorry.
agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But thank you for the I do appreciate. I hope you guys become Christian, but I can't change that. So
Yeah, we probably won't. Not based off that level of
He said
evidence.
monkeys can't build a house. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they build little structures within like enclosures.
Could ask.
This is the second definition of humans. The first definition of humans that I heard on this was by someone named Manimal. I don't know if anyone's familiar, but they said humans are the
Not you
things
guys.
that build satellites. What is with these weird definitions?
Yeah. Sloth.
I was gonna say there are quite a few animals who have better memories than humans. Most humans, I should say.
Sloth in the comment section said, could Adam build a computer? No, he couldn't. So Adam was an animal. All right, we're going to bring up our next guest, Dylan33. I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions that I ask every single one of my guests. I'm sorry, guys, for the dogs barking in the background. Apparently, someone's driving by. Dylan, I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions I ask every single one of my guests, irrespective of who they are. Question number 1, are you at least 18 years old?
Yeah, I'm 22. What's up?
Question number 2, are you a Christian?
Yes, sir.
Question number 3, what are your pronouns?
Okay, bro. Come on. Little kids don't ask me that.
I'm not a little kid. I'm a grown-ass man, and you'll answer.
I know, so that's why it makes it sad.
And you'll answer my question, or we'll just move on. I know you've been waiting to ask me.
All right. But you're not gonna like my answer. She, her.
That's fine. I'll call you she, her. If you go by she,
That's
her.
fine with me. I
So,
like to make
so
that.
Dylan, she, her, young lady, we're gonna talk to you about why it is.
Yo, I
that-
didn't say
why-
lady. I said she, her, bro.
We're gonna talk to you today about why it is I should become a Christian. So, Dylan, ma'am, why should I become a Christian?
Because Jesus, God, is the essence of goodness, and to not know God or have a relationship with Him, it's to not have a relationship with goodness, and so to me that shows me you're evil.
Do you
When-
think? Do
when
you think
God-
slavery is good?
Depends.
Okay, on what? I would love to hear what the hell. How does?
for instance,
In what
like
instance is
prisoners
slavery
are
good?
enslaved, for instance, prisoners are enslaved.
And I don't agree with that. I think it's bad.
You don't think a person that stabs someone should be enslaved?
I don't. No, I don't. I think slavery is
No.
bad. I think the prison system we have in America is shit. I think we need to adopt a system more similar to what they do in the Netherlands. where we do like reformative justice and not retributive justice.
Well, already further away from Christianity with this one
Yeah.
than
So
I am
really
closer
don't
to
see
it.
it, lady.
so again, Dylan, do you think slavery? Do you think, like, for example, let's say
Just two ladies here.
No, bro. Slavery's bad, bro. I don't like
ma'am.
the Jewish.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. You don't like the Hebrew Bible. That's what you just said. Is that right?
I didn't say. I said the Jewish invention.
The
Slavery
Jewish.
was made by Jews.
No. Okay. Okay.
And
Whoa.
we're being anti-Semitic
no,
now.
Here.
no,
One second.
that's
One
just-
sec- one-
no,
Yeah.
no,
That's not.
no,
No. That's a no.
Nope.
That was going to go into a very bad direction as soon as he said that. Jesus fucking Christ. First and foremost, no. The Jewish people did not invent slavery, you jackass. People were practicing slavery long before the Israelites were ever a people group. And the only reason
Yeah.
the Israelites had slaves is because the Canaanites had slaves. You jackass. Jesus Christ.
Also, everyone back in that day all nations had some sort of slavery going on for them.
Yeah.
That was added on top of the fact that several people in the comments said that they were a horrible guest. So I have a feeling that was going to get worse and worse as time progressed, just based off of two things she said.
Yeah.
A feeling that was going to get worse and worse as time progressed, just based off of two things she said.
Yeah. Stephanie Higgins. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Question number 1, are you at least 18 years old?
Yes, I'm 19.
All right. What year were you born?
Faggot.
That person had a cross in their username. You shall know
Checks
them
out.
you shall know them by their fruits. By the way, if it turns out Christianity is true, and you have to stand before Jesus one day, and you have to say, well, guess what? You just turned away Dalton, the Bible guy, from becoming a Christian by using a horrible slur while representing me. Depart from me, I never knew you. Have fun with that.
Do you think Jesus is going to reject us, or do you think he'd let us go?
I think we're a lot nicer than his followers, generally. Dipster said, another loving Christian. I know. They are not bringing their best. Shrike42 says, man, I wished the Romans fed more of those guys to the lions. They pretend happened so much. Yeah, that's another fun thing. We don't have really good evidence to believe that actually really happened to the scale that a lot of Christians say. Rob Sexton says, for somebody that doesn't believe you quote it a lot. Yeah, I know the Bible better than you, Rob.
If you could tap the screen, tap Dalton's little face, share out the live, repost, send a heart me if you can, do all the things, get the live shared out. We're I don't know what's going on with the taps, guys. I love y'all to death, but your fingers are weak today. Are we tired? Are we tired?
It is. What is it today? Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah.
They think billionaires can't dodge this. They think the North Atlantic slave trade was done by. Whoa, they do? That's crazy. Nini. Chill out, girl. Here, just real quick. Bible dog in the chat, everybody.
Aww.
Here, lick the. Here.
Bible dog, Bible dog.
Shh, everyone, listen as she licks. Okay, do some ASMR. Here, lick my face. There you go. Y'all chill out. No more barking at strangers. All right.
But it's a car.
That was Nini or Ava, and then there's a bigger one over here that I can't get on my lap because she's fat, and her name's Baby. Hey, baby. Hello, my baby. No, you can't get up here, can you? Oh wait, here I can just move the camera. There we go. There's my baby. All right.
Edged up poppers.
Ooh, okay. All right. Now we have our next guest. The real Mason. I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions I ask every single one of my guests, irrespective of who they are. Question number 1, are you at least 18 years old? Oh, where'd they go?
I don't think they're here anymore.
Quick as when. She's not fat. She's just filled with love. I love that. Rainbow says, sweet face. Yes, I don't trust anyone who doesn't love dogs. That is true. F this name thing. I think we've spoken to you before, but just so I can get a reminder, are you at least 18? Are you a Christian? And what are your pronouns?
So, yes, 18. Not a Christian, but I actually had a question that's related.
Sure. I don't have any other.
Okay, and he, him. My question is, many times I've heard you say that you believe that Jesus was actually a historical character, or human, person, whatever
Yeah.
you want to use.
Well, likely, sure. I'm on the
But
fence.
could it have just been his brother essentially making up the whole thing to get people to follow him when there was a lack of like things going on in the Jewish world at the time, and the need for that to happen to build his own credibility?
Well, I don't think his brother was responsible for starting off the religion. I think one of his disciples, Peter, was like the founder of like the Jesus movement, based on probably a not off of like some sort of malicious intention, but rather that it may be that his follower Peter had what we would call a bereavement hallucination, where he would have seen his recently deceased rabbi. Oh, I'm gonna have to mute you real quick because that's a lot of background noise. The recently deceased Jesus via crucifixion could have, quote, appeared to him via a bereavement hallucination. And this probably would have been the catalyst for the Jesus movement. You can unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry. So you're also saying though, but it could also just be not a real person as well.
It's possible. I'm investigating that claim right now. Although I'm probably not going to accept any version of that theory where people are like, no, Jesus doesn't exist, and they're specifically making him up from scratch. I think that's a conspiracy theory kind of mindset, and it's not one that I'm willing to accept.
For sure.
I would be willing to accept the idea that perhaps early Christians thought Jesus was some sort of celestial being that appeared to them in a vision, but not that they just made him up knowing that he was fake.
Got it. Okay, cool. That's all I had.
All right. Have a good day.
Either.
Let's see. Can I ask you a question? Why are you going against theists? Seth, why don't you come up here and I can tell you why.
Oh, and by the way, everyone, just to let you know, we like to promote reading the Bible because we think that that paves the road to atheism. Right now, the NRS VUE is on Amazon. It's a discounted deal. If you've got Prime, it is it's like 12 something, $13. So if you've been wanting a copy of the NRS VUE, it is on sale for like 50% off on Amazon. So
Seven Livin says they absolutely could have made him up knowing he was fake. Sure, but I think that's like a conspiracy theory, and that you're gonna need like an extraordinary amount of evidence to demonstrate that. I think the more likely, the more natural explanation is going to be like something like dead rabbi, post-mortem hallucinations of Jesus, or people having visions of Jesus or something like that. Not like intentional, malicious conspiracy theory. The motive doesn't even make sense. Why does the Bible...
Hold on. It's people asking questions. The NRS VUE, the New Revised Standard Version Updated Edition, that is the version of the Bible. It's the most scholarly one that we have available. And it is faux leather paperback. So it's not a Kindle. It's actually a physical copy. If you're like me, you like physical Bibles, I have it also in formats online and stuff like that, and on Audible. But yeah, if you like physical copies, it's on sale right now.
Seth says, not a fan of typing is plenty, LOL. I mean, yeah, it's easy to be a keyboard warrior, isn't it? I have a question. Why are Christians so pushy? Like Hinduism is not, nor is Buddhism. Because Christianity has built into it the need to spread its belief. If you read the Gospel of Matthew, for example, Matthew 28, the author has Jesus telling the disciples, "Go ye therefore and preach the gospel to all nations."
In both Hinduism and Buddhism, you're not supposed to spread unless asked directly by that person, but you're not supposed to teach about the religion.
Yeah, it's baked into Christianity, this idea that you have to spread the religion, which is why a lot of Christians, like, for some reason, like, are very pushy and also don't really have good a good sense of like boundaries.
Oh, hey, Red Stick.
Just yesterday, in fact, so sad time for a story, but yesterday I came home because my mom called me crying because our dog had died, and I had to bury my dog, the third dog that y'all didn't see here. Anyways, I made a post about it, and there was a Christian guy by the name of Strength in Christ who thought this was the perfect opportunity to preach to me that why I should come to God and come to Jesus, using the death of my dog as a catalyst for trying to push me into Christianity.
Mind you, if you ask him if the dog had a soul, he would probably say no.
Unless he was like a Franciscan, a Catholic. They believe that dogs have souls and go to heaven. All Catholics believe that dogs have souls because dogs have what's called a sensitive soul.
Do all animals have souls, or is it just dogs?
All animals, according to at least classical Christianity, all animals have souls. All plants have souls. They have what's called vegetative souls.
That's Plato? Aristotle, yeah.
Yeah.
Aristotle.
It's Marcher. Oh wait, it's Mark Hernandez. Okay. It's Mark Hernandez. I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions I ask every single one of my guests, irrespective of who they are. Question number 1, are you at least 18? By the way, if you leave the screen, I won't be able to hear you.
Yes, I am, mate. I am 35, actually.
Question number 2, are you a Bible believer?
I'm a Christian, yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, Christian. That's what I meant to ask. Are you a Christian? And question number 3, what pronouns do you prefer to go by?
Him, him.
All right, Mark Hernandez, he, him. I'm Dalton, the Bible guy. Why should I become a Christian?
Honestly, the basic understanding of being a Christian, honestly, it's at the end of the day, we're gonna meet God and we're gonna die. It's really very obvious, right? All of us are gonna die one day.
Yeah, why should I believe that? Not the death part. Of course, we're all going to die, perhaps. Technology is a crazy thing. But, yeah, say we all die. Why should I believe that we'll all meet God? But, yeah, say we all die. Why should I believe that we'll all meet God?
What should you believe? I mean, honestly, it's a choice. That's the great thing about Christianity.
It's not.
That we all have a choice, and like
belief isn't a choice. I don't choose what I believe. I'm either convinced that something is true or I'm not convinced something is true, and I'm going to either believe or disbelieve based on that, either being convinced or not convinced.
Really, I think we might disagree, because if somebody tells me, "Hey,"
is there a belief that you've ever chosen without being convinced?
May I just give as an example, Dalton? Do you mind?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, is if someone is if you're convinced someone's lying to you because you have evidence that they're lying to you, can you choose not to believe that they're lying to you?
I can choose to believe something, and
if you have evidence that they are lying to you, you can just decide, like, oh no, they're not lying to me.
Yeah, and actually believe it without actually just lying to yourself.
If they have proof without a doubt, then yeah, I have to believe it, right?
But can you have proof? Yeah, but can you make yourself believe that they aren't lying? Can you just choose?
I make myself believe?
Can you just believe? Can you just choose to believe to the contrary?
At one moment, you had the evidence, and you're like, they're definitely lying, and then you're like, nah, I don't feel like believing that. They're not lying.
That's a very tricky thing that you guys are asking. I don't think it should be like
It's not very
a
tricky.
quick answer.
That's not very tricky.
Well,
If I have evidence that someone's lying, I can't convince myself that that they're not lying. I have the evidence. I can't just be like,
correct.
"Oh yeah, they're lying." I'm just going to choose not to believe that.
Yeah,
No, no, no. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I mean, if
Bel-
yes, if I have proof that that person is lying to me, then yeah, of course,
yeah,
I'm
it's
not gonna believe.
that's because beliefs are not choices. They're just the natural they're the natural repercussion of being convinced of something. If you're convinced of something, you'll just automatically believe it. I mean, there's a possibility that you could be in like you could be delusional, or you could be lying to yourself. You could be in denial.
In denial.
And yeah, in denial. But
Mhm.
at the end of the
Cognitive
day,
dissonance.
if you're being honest with the data presented to you, you'll have no choice but to believe something, or you won't have enough data to believe to be convinced of something, and therefore you have no choice but to lack a belief in it.
Yeah, no, I agree. The one thing I gotta be honest in, I myself I'm a very skeptical person. I would say I don't believe things just because somebody told me, or you know. So Christianity is one of those things, guys, that yes, scientists and people that are they're sought after just going and find proof and evidence. But honestly, the Bible itself, in the Bible, it shows that we are the people that we are blessed. I mean, blessed the ones who have believed without seeing. So there
Yeah,
is
that's
a belief.
yeah, that verse was given to us in order to make it so that you won't question the religion. Like the author of John was very clever in writing a story where Thomas wouldn't believe without having seen Jesus. Also, he could set up the line for Jesus to say where it says, "Blessed are those who believe without seeing." That is written specifically so that you won't question the religion, or to sort of like to foster a sense of a quickening of belief without proper evidence. But that's not a very good line of thinking.
Okay, that's fine, and I respect that. That's your point of view, and I get it. I get if I want to find excuses why not to believe, trust me, I'll find
I
them.
don't have excuses for not believing.
I'm not telling you.
I just
No,
don't
no.
have any evidence to believe.
That's what I'm saying. Like we are 2,000 years later, guys. It is very unfair for me to say, "Hey, show me the DNA of Jesus, or else I won't believe." You see what I mean?
I'm not asking for the DNA of Jesus.
No, I know. I know you're not, but I'm just putting it as an example. If I'm asking for evidence besides what everything that look, guys, I
It
honestly, like I said,
sounds like you're saying you don't have any evidence.
there is no evidence that I can give it to you guys. Hey, guys, look, here's Jesus, and this is what he said. 500 people saw him. I mean, I can find 1,000 reasons why not to believe.
Yeah, but why would I?
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but like that's like the claim of 500 people saw Jesus. That's just coming from one source, Paul, and
Correct.
he doesn't even name any of those sources, nor does he tell us anything that they believed or said. So, like, is that
Well, I mean, we already have 12. We have all the apostles, right?
we don't have
Who,
any of the testimony of the apostles. All we have is Paul telling us what the apostles experienced.
what about Peter? What about John? What about
We don't have any of their,
Matthew?
we don't have any of their testimony because they didn't write those gospels.
Again, so I can go back to even Genesis. It is known that Moses wrote those,
No,
but come on.
Moses certainly didn't write the book of
How do you
Genesis.
how do you write about your own death? I just want to know.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying,
Here.
guys. I'm
Well,
not
no,
saying that Moses wrote him. That's not. I
No,
don't think that is
Moses.
accurate because
You
he
don't
couldn't
think?
write about his own death.
Oh, good, because you don't think that Moses wrote Genesis then?
I don't think so. I think that was passed verbally, right? There was no writing. I mean, we're talking about Genesis. We're talking about thousands of years before it was even possible to write things. So the fact that scholars, it was even possible to write things. So the fact that scholars have accredited to
no,
Moses,
before people could even write things, there was writing prior to this, there was a pseudo Hebrew. Dalton knows the name of it. I'm not as familiar with Hebrew, but there was a type of pseudo
Paleo.
Hebrew, right? Or proto Hebrew, right?
Paleo.
Paleo Hebrew. That's what it is. Yeah. So they were able to write before this. I don't know what you're talking about. You just made that up.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm talking about
You mean there was no way?
from the beginning of humans. Remember,
Oh yeah, humans have been around for 200,000 years. Sure.
remember, we're narrating.
Humans couldn't write 200,000 years ago. That's correct. But 6,000 years ago is around the time when humans began to write. Supposedly, that's when Adam supposedly.
Again, I'm not a scientist, so I do not know exactly when it was written, and I don't want to even get
Genesis?
lost into that.
Around the
Yeah, like
around the 6th century BCE during the Babylonian exile.
okay, but if you think about it, like what is written in Genesis, it's like
Myths.
you have to trace it back to 1,000 years back, like
Yeah.
thousands, not just
Sure.
yesterday.
But we also, I would just say, Genesis is a myth. We probably shouldn't believe it. It's an interesting story. It's the myth of the ancient Israelites and what they thought that their origins were, but we don't have any good reason to like accept that story.
Okay, fair enough. Honestly, the basic thing that I don't have a lot of time, guys, but I really give you guys props in a way because what you guys are doing, it actually pushes real Christians. And unfortunately, a lot of us the Christians it's represented by humans that are imperfect, sinful. So we a lot of times don't do right to represent the God who we believe in. And I gotta take that credit. And a lot of time is that
I think the God you believe
yeah.
in is a monster. If
Okay.
we take the Bible's word, like his characteristics, then I'm glad that Christians aren't accurately representing Yahweh, because if they were, that would be terrifying. I'm glad that most Christians are better than the God they worship. Sadly, they're just not as good as they should be.
Got you. I mean, I totally, it's your opinion, guys. I really respect that. One thing I do, and here's my thing, guys. I'm not a scientist, like I said, or don't claim to know the ins and out of the Bible. But one thing I do realize that one day I will die. And according to what the Bible teaches, there's going to be only two choices, right? Either I go to heaven or I go to hell.
But why should I believe that?
Hold on, just hear me out.
Technically, the Bible teaches more than that, but according to Christianity, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, there's two basic principles, guys, and how you live your life, what you do, whether you believe it or not. It's all a choice of everyone's choice, I guess. But
not a choice. We've already established this.
Okay.
My not believing Christianity is not a choice. If I can't just flip a switch in my head and choose to believe in Christianity.
Okay, I respect that. Let me finish my little thing. From my perspective, okay? I just want to be really clear. If one day, I know there's no doubt that I will die. My thing is that, what if by any chance, I fought so hard during my entire life to fight to telling people it's a lie, don't follow it, it's a made up thing, there's no God.
I'll cut you short on this, Hernandez. What happens if you spend your whole life being a Christian, and then it turns out that Islam was true, or Judaism was true? Then you're going to end up in hell for worshiping Jesus forever. Does that bother you? Do you spend nights waking up in the middle of the night with sweats, wondering, "Oh my gosh, what if I end up in Islamic hell?" No, you don't, because you don't believe in Islamic hell, and I'm not in the least bit scared of like Christian hell because of the same reason. Like, I'm just as likely to end up in Islamic hell as I end up in Christian hell. They're equally as likely, being not very much.
Say again? I missed that.
They're equally as likely to be true, which is not very much.
Equally likely.
Christianity and Islam, and their respective afterlives.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Granted, in Islam, you actually might live. You wouldn't get into like the good heaven, but you might get into like eternal life.
I don't know. At least with Islam, Dalton, you get some virgins.
If you go to paradise.
Well, it
Yeah.
depends.
So
So, in my
I
knowledge in Islam, there are several different types of heaven and hells. Because Dalton doesn't believe and technically wasn't correctly informed, he gets a cop out,
oh
which
well,
isn't like the good heaven, but at least you're not in hell.
I don't know if these consented either, so I don't know if I'd want
hey
that.
guys, I'm about to go, but just wanted you to keep in mind whether somebody goes to heaven or hell. That's gonna be either a choice of belief. But you know what? I'm happy
Then
that you guys are
then I'll
not gonna be ignorant.
then I'll end up in
Yeah,
then
you
I'll end up in hell for something I couldn't choose.
right. I don't. I believe or not, because a lot of this is based on faith, like honestly, it's faith. It's a big part of Christianity because we
Uh,
cannot prove a lot of things.
yeah,
So,
that's kind of the big problem with
yeah,
Christianity is the fact that it's built off of faith, and so is Islam,
yeah,
and so
it
is
is. It
Judaism.
is. It is. Yep.
So,
And probably every religion, I think. I mean,
I just
what
want
religion can be proven?
can you just stop believing for like 2 seconds? You'll still go to heaven. Can you just stop for like, I don't know, like put a minute timer on it? Just stop believing.
I came from non-Christian background,
No,
guys,
can you do
and
it right
I
now for like five
honest.
minutes? It's a choice. I want you to stop believing for like 5 minutes. You'll still go to heaven. I just want you to do it for 5 minutes.
Stop believing for a minute.
Yeah, it's
I
just a
see.
choice, like you keep
I don't
saying.
think it's not a no. But I don't think I'm explaining correctly, I guess.
What were you about to say? It's not a what?
I mean,
Huh?
but believing is not a switch. I agree 1,000%.
or disbelieving,
It's a long life choice, huh?
or disbelief. Disbelief is also not a choice.
Okay, yeah, all right. I mean, from how you guys are putting it, yes, it's not a switch. It's a lifestyle. It's a decision that Christians do
Well,
whenever we come to know who
I
Jesus
can
is.
I can choose the lifestyle, but whether or not I believe in it or not is not something I just choose.
But the thing is that my actions depend on what I believe. Like if I don't believe in Jesus, then I won't behave like a Christian. I won't follow, what Christians teach. So
Good.
it makes a life choice.
You're better off.
Wait. No, I'm gonna assume isn't that you think it's good things, right? The fact that you need a book to tell you to be a good person and the fear of a consequence tells me that maybe you're not that good of a person, that maybe you're just so scared of hell that it scares you to not go out and rape and murder. But I don't need
I
those things.
am scared of hell. Absolutely, I'm scared of hell.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's the thing that you need to make you be a good person. Whereas atheists, we don't have
No.
any of that, and
No.
we're not going out and raping and murdering. So
Can I
No,
give
no, no.
Hernandez, can I give you a book recommendation before we end this call? Something for you to read, to do a little bit of research.
Sure.
There's a book by Bart Ehrman. Do you have something to write this down with?
Yeah. What is it called? I think I heard about it. What is it called?
It's called Heaven and Hell: A History of the Afterlife by Bart Ehrman. And this book will show you that the modern day concept of hell that you hold to as a Christian is an invention. It's not real. It was invented over a period of time, and it's an idea which evolved over a long period of time. And I think that maybe once you are no longer have this fear of hell, then maybe you can start thinking rationally about why it is you believe what you believe.
I mean, from my perspective, God has been nothing but good to me, guys. And even though I've read the stories in the Bible, there's some killings, there are some rapings that happen
Here's a good question.
in the Bible.
Here, Hernandez. If a guy walks up to you and holds a gun to your head and says, "Love me, or I'm gonna shoot you," would you say he's a good person?
No,
All right.
I don't think God ever forced anybody to love him.
You will believe in me, or you will spend eternity in hell.
Actually, trust in me is more that I would go.
Fine, trust in me,
Trust in Jesus.
trust in me, and love in me, or you'll spend eternity in hell. That's not really love. That is coercion.
guys, if there wasn't a hell, then heaven wouldn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
No, you
Like
can
it's
have
just
you can
automatically.
have heaven without hell. That's not necessary.
There was, but why should I choose that? You know, like
Maybe
what would
maybe
it be
maybe
a
maybe
choice?
you should be a good person for the sake of being a good person.
I
Because
am.
yeah,
I don't think it's needed.
instead of just doing it because you're afraid of hell.
Also, how you glossed over the raping and the murdering was a little concerning.
In the Bible.
Oh, God. I mean, I think that our problem sometimes is understanding the minds of God and what He did, what He did. But I
That's
think
just a
that
cop out. That's a brain.
Thought,
That's a
sure, okay.
insert thought terminating cliche here. You don't have to think about it anymore, guys. It's the answer. Don't think about it. It makes sense if you don't think about it.
No, I don't want to say that. I just know one thing I'm not concerned is that all you know more than God than I do
I
it probably.
well, I do know more than your
It's yeah.
I do know more than your God knows because
Okay, okay.
your God doesn't even know that women don't always bleed their first time having sexual intercourse. I at least know that. Your God didn't know that.
hmm Yeah. No. I was talking about you guys know more about God than I do. And the thing is that if
Well,
one day if we don't see each other in heaven,
what's God's name?
then you just said it.
No,
God is
that's not his name.
Yahweh.
There you go. How you
There
spell it?
has many. There's no vowels.
What was the name of his wife?
There's no wife.
There was a wife. I do know a
For
I
little.
know this
God?
one.
Yes, the ancient Israelites.
God's wife?
The ancient Israelites believed that God had a wife.
Yeah,
Actually,
I
had
heard that one.
more than one name. El
Yeah.
Shaddai.
Yeah. It's like 7 different names. Yep.
They also believed in more than one god, or there was acknowledgement of the others.
Yeah. Hey guys, I gotta run, but I really do appreciate it. And I just gonna pray for you guys that may find
And
salvation because honestly it's not
and
about religion.
and we'll think for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you guys.
And we hope for critical thinking.
Real
That's
quick,
what we hope for in you.
real quick, just so everyone can take a look. This is a picture, an ancient relief that the Israelites had of these two figures here with interlocking arms are Yahweh and his Asherah, who was his goddess wife.
That eggplant.
Oh yeah, and also you can see that at the very between Yahweh's legs, he's got a huge ding-a-lang. Yeah, that's a thing.
Nice to know they needed to include that.
Yeah. Anyways, he was meant to show that he was a real man. Anyways, we got Handsome Clips TTV. I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions I ask all my guests. Question number 1, are you at least 18 years old?
Yeah.
Question number 2, are you a Bible believer?
Yes.
Are you a Christian? I meant to ask.
Yes.
All right, and question number 3, what are your pronouns?
He, him.
All right. Handsome Clips TTV, he, him. I am Dalton the Bible guy. Why should I become a Christian?
Listen, I've been in the live for a while by now, and textually speaking, I believe that you guys are correct. However, I can't explain the reasons why you should become a Christian. But I think that it is a great reason to be Christian. Now, textually speaking, rationally speaking, and like logically thinking, you guys are correct. I have to give that to you. But I identify as a Christian because of my experiences alone.
So,
Are you asking us to be illogical and irrational?
In a way, yes, because it's
No.
just can you believe in something that
So here's the thing.
my question
My
question is
real quick.
hold on, I'm gonna let you talk.
Yeah, I just need to let you go that my ultimate goal is to believe as many true things as possible. So I need a reliable mechanism to achieve that goal. Do you think that faith is a good mechanism for getting to that goal?
For ultimate truth, you said?
not just, I didn't use the word ultimate truth, but I want to believe as many true things as possible, and do disbelieve as many false things as possible. Do you think that faith is a good mechanism for achieving that goal?
No, because you could either believe in lies or you could believe in something that's rational and something that could actually be proven.
Is this the best guess we've had today? Holy hell. Um,
I mean, honestly, W for the honesty. I think that this deserves a big W in the chat because you're being honest. I'm just not going to be convinced by someone coming up and saying, "Oh yeah, it's illogical and irrational, therefore you should do it." It's honestly a poor argument.
and here's the thing.
But you're honest.
If your argument is going to be based off of personal experience, here's the problem, is that I did not experience your personal experience. Perhaps it could be that your personal experience was sufficient for you to believe in Christianity, but your personal experience cannot be evidence for me.
Right.
Evidence needs to be something that's like independent, that I can actually corroborate as being true.
Right. Okay. I didn't expect to get on here, but I've been watching you, and it's like you're slowly swaying. Like now, as a Christian, I could say that I'm lacking in Christianity. I'm lacking in following them and like my mindset and my daily actions, and not reading my word right. But however,
I definitely encourage
I
you
know
to
that.
read the Bible more. It's how I became an atheist.
However, I cannot. Well, I will accept that and to go and like read the Bible more. But I just believe that through personal experiences that I cannot pull myself out of those things that happen. I'm talking countless near-death experiences, and
Have you looked into the science of near-death experiences?
no, I haven't. I have no knowledge on that.
There's 2 studies, Aware 1 and Aware 2. Nope, no evidence to suggest it. Aware, like what they did specifically for like out of body experiences, like people have this perception. I had an indie, I didn't specifically have an out of body experience, but they like drew pictures on the wall in this like hidden area. And the people that came back and was like, oh, they described their experience and they could not describe the picture. There is no evidence to indicate that any of these things out after when you're having these NDEs are true. Sorry for bumping my mic. It's likely just a flood of something called DMT and a hallucination that occurs because your brain is either starving of oxygen or having some sort of other aspect that would lead to this. It's a medical phenomenon and a psychological phenomenon rather than
quite. It's quite common when people reach the end of life, they tend to hallucinate, which is why when old people tend to get to a couple hours before they die, they'll usually say they see a loved one coming back for them. It's quite common. It's a way for your brain to calm itself down before you pass.
So, you are familiar. Okay. You are familiar with how hallucinations work, right?
Oh yes, but can I like go elaborate on more of my like near-death experiences that I say? But I would like a follow-up question before I even go into detail. There's something for you guys. So where do you guys think you guys go after death?
Well, I think it depends on where you're buried. Most of us go into the dirt. Some of us go on our family's fireplaces in a tiny little urn. But I don't think that there's a part of us that exists immaterially that continues to exist consciously after we die. As far as we can tell, everything that makes up what we are is our physical body. And that it's like asking a question, where does the computer go when you turn it off?
Right.
It's there.
Nobody would know.
It's just there. The computer's still there. It's just not functioning anymore. And this right here is a meat computer. And when it ceases to function, where I go is, well, my body.
Have you ever had any spiritual encounters or anything that's emotionally heightening that you've sensed before that you couldn't explain or prove?
Well, sort of. When I grew up as a Christian, and I grew up in a type of Christianity which was very much on the had the concept of like spirituality, and it's sort of like Pentecostalism. So there's a heavy emphasis on like the movement of the Holy Spirit, and I used to feel as if the Holy Spirit was impressing upon me. But hindsight being 2020, I now recognize that what I thought was the Holy Spirit impressing upon me was simply a psychological experience. And yeah,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
I thought, yeah, there's something called the right temporal lobe, and when we it has overlap with like a psychotic hallucination. Although spiritual hallucinations are not technically diagnosable as long as they fit in within the cultural reference, but and there's a couple of reasons why, because they don't fit psychotic hallucinations the same way. It's not all of the same brain areas, right? Thank you, Muffin Man. There are overlaps in these types of experience that occur relatively similar to that of psychotic hallucination. So a lot of the stuff that your types of experiences that you're having are probably not aligned with reality. They're just part of your brain, kind of, I wouldn't say like misfiring, because I'm not in a line with there's a specific set way to fire, right? I think that gets us into a lot of problems. Some people have that belief in the field. I don't. But I just, unless it's dysfunctional. Deviant, that's sorry for my little tangent there, but yeah, it has overlap with areas that we know correspond with things that do not correlate with the reality, to kind of sum it up real short.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions for me?
No, not really, not me. I don't. I mean, my only question would be like, why should I become a Christian?
Like I said, me honestly speaking, I'm a bad representation of what a Christian is.
Well, I mean, you're the best example we got tonight.
But I believe that there is a Jesus Christ, because now
I believe
I'm not sure if you believe he existed.
Yeah, he just wasn't the Messiah because he didn't fulfill a single prophecy from the Hebrew Bible.
Like I said, I would have to do my research more, but if he existed, do you think the things that he like taught and things are true as well, or not at all?
No, I mean, the problem is, first and foremost, I don't think the Gospels are accurate representations of what Jesus said and did. But even if they were, I still wouldn't like think that what he taught was true. Like, Jesus says things which were, even from the standard, like if we're comparing it to the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, he says things which are clearly wrong. Like Jesus tells Nicodemus, for example, in the Gospel of John 3:13, no one has ascended into heaven except he who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. Well, that's just according to the Hebrew Bible, not true, because according to 2 Kings chapter 2, or 1 Kings chapter 2, Elijah ascended into heaven. So if I was to believe in the Hebrew Bible, I definitely couldn't believe that what Jesus said, because what he said wasn't true. Or Jesus says in John chapter 10 verse 34, he's speaking to the Pharisees and he says, "Is it not written in your law, I said you are gods?" But that's not a quote from the law. That's a quote from the Psalms. So I don't have any reason to think that the things that Jesus said were like accurate.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys for having me. I really feel bad that I can't defend my Christian case as much as I need to be able to convert you guys, but I think that Jesus Christ is actively, truly correct, because like I said, I haven't been able to pull myself out of those situations. Now, when I mean by near-death experiences, I mean like actually, like, to add on to what she was saying, she said about, the temporal lobe and about it being neural. Now, I quite assure you that it was reality, for me, especially.
Well, they feel like reality. When you experience these hallucinations, they feel real.
I'm not saying that it isn't real for you. Like, even, and I don't like comparing it to psychotic hallucinations. I know the atheists like to kind of pin it down as delusion, and they want to fit it into this thing. It's not, but it has overlaps in it. So a lot of the times they're from like hippocampal areas, meaning like from memory. That happens a lot with like bereavement hallucinations, and then some of the prefrontal cortex for like more creative and imaginative sides for more like visions and things like that instead of bereavement. But it's not like it doesn't make you like crazy, and I don't like that word for having this. It's probably an evolutionary trait. It just means that you're more susceptible to having kind of reality bend a little, which honestly most of us are. Between 30 and 60% of people experience like bereavement hallucinations. A lot of us have like minor delusions. It's not like a bad thing. It just means you're susceptible to having reality be a little different.
Well, yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No,
Actually, I'm gonna let you.
no, you go ahead.
It's very difficult to explain my position. Like, I can't explain it.
I think the best route, the next thing you should do after this
Just
conversation
do my research.
is do some research on the science of near-death experiences. Look from not just like what Christians have to say about it, but look from skeptical sources, like actual skeptical scientists who have and see what they have to say about near-death experiences and how they are explained. Because I guarantee you, we do have a naturalistic explanation for the phenomenon you probably experienced.
I don't think it was like it wasn't. It was actually literal. Okay.
I know.
Now
I guarantee it felt that way for you. I don't doubt that. But that's just how these things work. When you're dying, or you're in an experience like this, and your brain is starved of oxygen. Ashley, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but your brain will flood itself with all kinds of drugs.
DMT is generally what we see. Likely, you're going to have different imbalances between your monoamines, things like epinephrine, norepinephrine. There's all sorts of explanations that occur when you're not like seeing reality straight.
Okay. So, what is the truest form of truth that you discovered so far?
Well, I define truth or true as simply that which comports to reality. I'm a methodological naturalist, meaning that I believe in the nature, in what can be demonstrated through evidence. I think that through the scientific method, for example, is one of the best ways for us to know what is and isn't true to the best of our ability.
And you say you were raised as Christian coming up?
Yeah, I've practiced Protestant Christianity, Catholic Christianity, and Judaism in the past.
Like I said, I haven't I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably a disappointment to Christianity because I rarely go to church, I rarely read my word, but I still I just know it's something bigger than me. Because
there are lots of things which are bigger than us. Like the cosmos itself is much bigger than us. You have this instinct, and the instinct is pointing towards something that's real, which would be the cosmos itself. I think you just need to learn how to redirect it towards things which are more accurate. But I think we do need to move on. But hey, you have your homework now, so I want you to go and do the homework. All right, bud.
All right, no problem, sir. Thank you for having me.
You have a good day.
All right, you as well.
Bye.
Genuinely, one of the most pleasant conversations I've had on these lives.
It stinks because I know the chat is bloodthirsty because the view count just dropped drastically. Y'all are not the ones still here, I guess. So this doesn't apply for y'all, but the chat's bloodthirsty.
It's funny. So everyone, keep tapping that screen. Share the live with those you love, with those you hate, with your friends, and with your enemies. We have another 50 minutes of the live to go, and I would love to talk to some Christians and see if they can come up with a reason for why I should be a Christian. Listen, guys, I'm open to changing my mind. It's how I got to where I am today. The question is, do you have good evidence for me to become a Christian? Remember, Jesus said, always, or Peter said in 1 Peter 3:15, always be ready to give an answer for those who question the hope that is within you. So I'm questioning. The question is, do you have an answer? Diana says that chat is bloodthirsty, just like Yahweh. Facts. JT says, no, he was genuine. He had nothing but at least was honest. Yes, he was very genuine, very honest. I am a gender said, let's make Hogwartsism a religion. I will follow it for sure. Expelliarmus. Lordy, you can be agnostic and atheist? Yes, I'm an agnostic atheist. Agnosticism refers to what one knows, and one's knowledge claim, and atheism versus theism is about one's belief claim is, or lack thereof. Muffin Man, thank you for sharing the live.
Or at least that's how we're using it. I know people define agnosticism other ways. When we say agnostic atheism, that is what we are referring to.
Yeah. AJ the Sparky says, gonna slither into those DMs. Hell yeah. You do that, AJ. Let's see. Heather, Heathen Reason, that's a tongue twister, is shared the live. Thank you so much. Perhaps he doesn't know as much as he likes to seem LOL not shocked. Who? Trying to get some of Christians in here. Hey, Muffin Man, I appreciate that. Thank you for the chili peppers. I think religion is a necessary and always occurring thing. Maybe good, maybe bad. I don't know if it's necessary because there were times in history where we didn't have it. And I don't know what it would be necessary for. I think we have things which serve the whole purpose of religion in the ancient world was twofold. It was one, to explain oh Jesus, I forgot. I looked down and I saw the penguin. One, to explain the natural world, and to explain explain the natural world, which science now does, and two, to provide a moral, ethical framework, which I think secular humanism does a better job at that than religion ever did. Heathen Reason says religion was an early attempt to understand the chemical realities around us. That's partially true. Ooh, gee whiz. Let's see. Nice penguin. Who is messaging me right now? Or is that you?
I'm in the group chat with Jay. I told her she did an Irish goodbye.
Oh, okay. Okay, we have better coping mechanisms now. More knowledge, better moral foundation, said Diana. That is true. That is true. Penguin shock, said Double. Nini. She's just like, I got a little doggy bed next to me so that she can lay down in it.
Eventually we'll have to get a doggy cam then.
Oh, well. Oh, big stretch. Big stretch. Big stretch. Don't worry, I'll take you out to walk at 7 o'clock. Good girl. Agnostic atheist for the win. Yep. Bro says dogs are my god. Hey, dog is God backwards. Yep, which is why we no longer need it, and people are deconstructing. It's like old pseudoscience. Godless Engineer says, hey, Dalton, how are you doing? Hey, Godless, how you doing? We are doing fantastic. Right now, we're kind of slow.
Godless!
Right now, we're kind of slow on the guests. But overall, it's been a pretty good day. I went to work and had food, and that helped me quite a bit.
Oh, for anyone who's not familiar with Godless Engineer, he's got a YouTube channel. I had mentioned that book, Marriage in the Bible. He interviews Dr. Jennifer Bird. So great channel to check out. Has a lot of resources and information. Knows a lot of scholarship. Definitely check, I'm plugging Godless Engineers. YouTube page, Facebook, all of that. And TikTok.
I think my God just walked in here and crop dusted me. You bitch. But technically she is. I'm just saying. Gee whiz, baby. Come on. Are you ever gonna go on the Atheist Experience, Dalton? That'd be awesome. Now that we have a computer PC set up here, that is that's something I can actually do now. So I'm gonna be getting into contact either with Godless Engineer or with Justin Deconstruction and setting up like when I'll be guesting on the Atheist Experience. She's blowing you kisses. Oh god. Said Trick Dennis 29 said, yeah, just followed Godless Engineer on YouTube. There you go.
W. Also, make sure to tap the screen, share out the live, keep doing the things. Godless Engineer, I know, guy. Let's get more likes up so we can hopefully get another few Christians in here so we can have some bloodthirsty conversations. I know y'all are craving it.
Facebook can get you on the line too. Yes. That's what Justin said, that there's a possibility that I could possibly get on the line too, which I would very much appreciate. So much fun. That would be so much fun. So guys, you got that to look forward to in the future.
I'd be your number one fan on there.
Well, yeah, sure, I'll accept that.
I'd be the crazy fan in the comments.
At Ashland, where does one find an adult-sized penguin onesie?
It's not a onesie. It's actually a blanket with, see, it's like, and it goes around and it just buttons up. This is a gift. I think they got it from Amazon. But yeah, it's awesome. Thank you.
Godless says also, I'm hosting a conference next year. John, come up and tell me a little bit about that. I'm interested to know more. Billionaire says, is that your lady? No, she's not my lady. I got her at the pound. No.
Dalton. Can't go up on. Wait, what did you? Oh, I invited you, Godless. If you want to come up.
Oh, he's driving.
You're driving.
Okay. Well, you know what?
Safety.
Yeah, look at that. Christians, take a note from Godless Engineer that, no driving and living. But when I get done. Fantastic. We'll be live for another 40 something minutes. It's defined as lack of belief, but good try. What is defined as lack of belief? Atheism? Yeah. Atheism is a lack of belief. Watch the TikTok idiocy start. Atheism is a lack of belief, not a belief. Correct. Well, you should probably get on that. Oh my gosh. Dinah says he's rage baiting. Who's rage baiting? Always type in the chat instead of talking in the box when you. Hey, Double Donkey. What Brandon Raider says, what's stopping you? Well, Brandon Raider, come up and we can discuss that. I'd love to talk to you and see if you have any good reasons why I should start being a Christian. If you lack belief with inadequate evidence, that's a belief. No, I don't. No, that's not how that works. That's still just a lack of belief. Being an atheist is no more of a belief system than being abstinent is a sex position. Oh my god, billionaire.
Raider says, is bald a hair color?
Is bald a hair color? Is non-stamp collecting a hobby? Donate to the Ashland Hand Warmer Fund.
I do have my Cash App in my bio, but I'm not gonna say that unless someone brings it up. But yes, it is. I was shivering earlier. That's why I have this on, by the way.
I'm wondering, can a male inherit through the mother under Mosaic law? No, there's nothing in the Torah that says as much. If you're asking because of the whole Jesus situation, the fact that Jesus actually isn't through Joseph a descendant of David. Like, here's the thing, guys. Like, as far as Jesus being a descendant of David, we don't have any good reason to think he was. We get two genealogies for Jesus in Matthew and Luke. They both contradict each other, and they're both through Joseph, who, according to the text, wasn't Jesus' dad. The closest thing we get to, like, any kind of evidence that Jesus was a descendant of David was Paul saying that he was made to be of the seed of David according to the flesh in the book of Romans. And that could just be his personal belief about Jesus, but how do we like actually know that Jesus was actually a descendant of David? Also, if he didn't have a dad, then he couldn't be a descendant of David on his dad's side. Well, he is also Mr. T Rams. Finally, we get ourselves a guest. Mr. T Rams, I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions I ask every one of my guests, irrespective of who they are. Question number 1, they're still loading in, but question number 1 for you whenever you do load in is, here we go. Are you at least 18? And he's asleep. Anyways, cue the seer.
How do you sleep request?
They weren't asleep. Cue the seer. I'm going to ask you the same 3
What
questions I ask
the
every.
world?
I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions I ask every one of my guests. Question number 1, are you at least 18?
Yes.
Question number 2, are you a Christian?
Yes.
And question number 3, what are your pronouns?
I don't even. I guess I'm just a male.
So do you go by he, him, she, her, or they, them?
I don't. I guess he, him.
All right.
I don't.
Q, he, him. I'm Dalton, the Bible guy. Why should I become a Christian?
Nice to meet you. You say your name is Dalton?
Yes.
Okay, nice to meet you, Dalton. I would say my main reason for a good I would say that my main reason for a good belief in God, or why you should become a Christian, if you are an atheist, I would say mainly about the there is a core human dilemma. I think everyone knows the brutal truth that 100 out of 100 people die. Not 99, not most, everyone.
I agree. Every human that's ever lived, including Jesus, is dead. I agree.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter how rich you are, how clever you are, or how hard you hustle. I think we all know death is the ultimate equalizer, and if you're honest, that knowledge hits like a ton of bricks. So I think if we all are honest, we all ask those questions. Is this it? Is there anything else out there, or does our life mean anything beyond just fleeting existence? You know, is there more?
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I ask those questions, but I think
so.
At least 90% of people ask that question.
Sure. So we have a question here. The question is the answer given appropriate? So, like, for example, when someone asks the question, what is 2 + 2? Someone could go, I have an answer. It's 5. That's an answer, but is it the right answer? So the question of, we're going to die. What happens to us when we die? Is your answer supported by the evidence?
Yeah, that's exactly what I believe. I feel the same thing, but I'm strictly on like truth. Like you can say 1 + 1 = 3, but is it the truth? Is what your faith or what you stand on, really true? And like I was just speaking on, the human dilemma, and to me, the Christian faith makes more sense, or is more logical, because the life of Jesus Christ flips the script on that human dilemma, on death. Because when you look at history, his life wasn't just like.
So does Mithraism. In Mithraism, the god Mithra undergoes a great struggle and passion. As a result of that struggle and passion, all people, whether they are man or woman, slave or free, have access to paradise.
So you saying Jesus was just a myth?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's not unique in that it offers the idea of like salvation and a life in the world to come for all persons. It's not unique in that factor. So the question is not, does it provide some sort of comfort to those who know they are going to die? I'm not so much concerned with what's comforting as I am with what is true.
Yeah, but what about the historical account about his death, about him rising?
Well,
3 days later, him being.
I think his death is historical. I don't
hang
think
on
his
a cross.
resurrection. I don't think his resurrection is.
So you don't think he rose 3 days 3
No.
days later, even all the eyewitness accounts, the historical documents
What
that mention it, even
what
the
I
outside documents
we don't have any
that
eyewitness accounts to Jesus' resurrection.
yeah, we have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We
Matthew,
have
Mark,
other
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
outside documents.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John aren't eyewitness accounts, or at least we have no reason to think they are. Mark and Matthew certainly never claim to be an eyewitness account. Luke says he gets his information from eyewitnesses, but he never names or cites them. And John, again, it's a bunch of people claiming that they believe someone else's testimony, but we don't know who these people are, so it's not really all that reliable. And they contradict each other on the resurrection.
Well, I would say Matthew and John were clearly they were apostles, part of Jesus' inner circle.
We don't know who wrote the Gospels. We don't know who wrote Matthew. The idea that Matthew wrote the Gospel of Matthew is a matter of early church tradition. Our earliest manuscripts of Matthew don't even have a title on the page. It doesn't say the Gospel according to Matthew. It just begins with the Gospel. It's saying the book of the generations of Jesus Christ. No title at the top.
Well, I would say scholars do have good historical reasons for attributing the Gospels to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, even if the titles weren't.
What's the good
like
reason?
even if the titles, I'm gonna give it to you.
Could you
Even if
name a scholar that attributes Matthew to the title?
Yeah, they had early church fathers like Irenaeus.
No, you said scholars.
Yeah, he actually means church fathers, not scholars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You
I'm
meant
talking about-
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So Irenaeus.
Yeah, that was mentioned in the early church. Irenaeus, Papias. I
Okay,
think.
well, let's talk about that. First, let's talk about Papias. So Papias, around 150 CE, tells us that Matthew and Mark wrote Gospels, though the description of the Gospels that he describes to us don't look anything like the Gospels of Matthew and Mark we have. So first and foremost, he says that Matthew wrote a Gospel in Hebrew, and it was a sayings Gospel. The Gospel of Matthew that we have doesn't fit that description. It was neither written in Hebrew, nor is it a sayings Gospel. It was written in Greek, and it has both sayings and narrations about Jesus. And he says that Mark wrote a Gospel, but it was out of order. Yet the Gospel of Mark we have is in the same sequential order of events as Matthew and Luke, the other synoptic Gospels. And no one in the early church took Papias seriously. Eusebius said that he was a dim-witted fool. Papias believed all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Like he believed that Judas Iscariot was so big and so bloated that he couldn't even walk through doors, and that he had maggots coming out of him, and all kinds of silly stories. So no one took Papias seriously in the early church. Now, in regards to Irenaeus,
what makes you think?
Well, that's from the works.
I'll let you finish. I feel like I've been getting cut off. I'll let you finish.
That's from Irenaeus, church historian, who recounts to us that story about Papias. Now, in regards to Irenaeus, he doesn't give us the authors of the Gospels until 170 CE, over 100 years after Mark was written. So the question is, where was he getting this information?
Well, Papias explicitly attributed Mark to Peter's recollections, and Matthew to the apostle himself.
But the Gospels,
he clearly. Hold on, let me finish. I know. But he clearly distinguished between accurate eyewitness accounts, and he distinguishes between unreliable heresy.
Those works that Papias cited are not the Gospels we have. The Matthew and Mark we have is not the one that Papias was talking about. Clearly, it's a different text altogether. Was our gospel of Matthew written in Hebrew or Greek?
It was written in Hebrew.
No, it wasn't written in Hebrew. The Gospel of Matthew was written in Greek. You know how we know that? Because when Matthew quotes the Hebrew Bible, he doesn't quote the Hebrew. He quotes the Septuagint.
Oh, that's what you mean that from what Papias quoted from.
Yeah, Papias says that Matthew wrote a gospel that was in Hebrew, but whatever that text is, we don't have it. It doesn't exist anymore. The Gospel of Matthew that we have is not the Gospel of Matthew that Papias was speaking about.
Yeah, but I still think small differences don't discredit authenticity. Like ancient texts often have multiple versions,
It's not
copying by
they're
hand,
not small differences.
oral tradition, translation from Hebrew or Aramaic to Greek.
They're not small
Variations were
differences.
inevitable.
It's not small variations. Matthew and Luke give us completely different stories on the nativity of Jesus, so much to the fact that they placed Jesus' birth 10 years apart from each other in different historical periods in ancient Palestine.
But what about everything else that were the same and correct? What about why is it so much nitpicking with that one discrepancy when they're
The resurrection
translating?
the resurrection accounts disagree with each other too. This looks more like people are these are stories written about Jesus decades after the fact, and that are building up each other and disagree with each other. This doesn't look like reliable historical narratives. Did Jesus ride into Jerusalem on one or two donkeys?
If I believe it's just two different perspectives. If me and you are standing on the street and there's a car accident and I hear a loud screech,
What was
and
Jesus?
you hear something different,
Was Jesus crucified at
what-
9 in the morning, like Mark says, or was he crucified in the evening, like John says? That's not a matter of perspective.
I still think it's a small.
It's not
It's
small.
small.
Either he was
Small
crucified in the morning, like Mark said, or he wasn't. Like John places his crucifixion out in the evening. He's not even on the cross at that point in the 9 in the morning. He's actually talking to Pontius Pilate at noon. That's not a small difference.
Yeah, but what about one? There's multiple witnesses and multiple angles.
We don't know if
That's
any
the
witnesses.
Gospels. Matthew, I know. No, that's the Gospels. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are four different perspectives on the
They are-
same historical event.
They are four different.
Oh.
They are four different versions of the same myth.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they're all focusing on, if they're all four different perspectives on the same historical,
They're
whether
not
you
perspectives.
think it's a myth.
They're not perspectives. We don't have any good reason to think that any of the authors or eyewitnesses of the events that are being recorded.
So what is the point of history? Why is history just some fallacy, or do we
No,
just
the Gospels aren't
not
history.
trust in history?
The Gospels aren't history. The
Was
Gospel.
George Washington the first president of the United States?
Sure, we actually have.
Why do you believe that?
Because unlike the Gospels, we have actual writings from George Washington.
Don't
who?
burden. Don't
Yeah,
burden
don't- yeah,
shift.
yeah, don't burden
burden
shift.
shift.
Thank you for that.
No.
No, the
No,
burden
I'm
is
just
on
fooling-
you
trying
to
to fool-
demonstrate that the Gospels are true, not to like point. You don't just get to go, well, what about? That's literally a whataboutism. You're just if you're going to point to like say, well, what about George Washington? That doesn't help your case for the Gospels. At best,
yeah, but
you
if we're
can-
going to be
at-
intellectually honest here and respect history, and if you're going to respect
I do
history
respect.
anywhere
I
else,
do respect history. Why should I think the
So
Gospels
why
are
is it
historical?
besides-
Why
why is
should
it when it comes to the
why should I think
Gospels?
that the Gospels are historical records?
why do you believe George Washington is the first president of the
No.
United States when you had?
Why should I
was
believe?
no-
Why should I believe the Gospels?
Burden shift.
Stop trying to
I'm
escape
giving you
from.
the
Stop
same-
trying to
the
escape.
same reason.
Stop trying to escape from the burden of evidence. Why should I believe the Gospels are
So
historical?
the same reason.
Where does Mark ever claim? Where does the Gospel of Mark ever claim to be written by an eyewitness? Tell me.
That, to me, that does not matter, especially
does
if
matter.
the early church fathers who lived in that time and they
They
all
did-
agree
Irenaeus
to the same
didn't.
account.
Irenaeus didn't live at the time when the events took place. Irenaeus told us that Mark wrote the Gospel of Mark in around 170 to 180 CE. Why should I
Aaron-
believe him?
But that's the whole point. They lived between 60 and like 130 AD, so they were clearly bishops of other generations and other apostles. So they were literally talking to people who had eyewitnesses knowledge
Where's the
of Jesus'
where's the
life.
where's the evidence
disciples,
that where's the
family, and early
where's the evidence that Irenaeus got his information on who wrote the Gospels from an eyewitness or someone who knew the apostles?
That's the evidence because they were bishops.
No, that's the claim. That's the claim. Where's the evidence that Irenaeus actually received information about who wrote the Gospels from someone who knew the apostles?
Do you know who the bishops were?
Yes, I know who the early bishops were, like Clement,
Okay,
for
so
example.
if Irenaeus knows a bishop, like let's say
Which-
I think he knew Hierapolis. If if he knows Hierapolis, and then
If
Hierapolis knows the generation after the
can,
apostles,
can you substantiate that if?
it's in history that those
Citation.
Irenaeus, Papias.
Citation needed.
I mean, I'm not. I would have to. I don't feel like going on the internet and do. I just know. I've studied it. I know Papias. I know Irenaeus. They knew.
If you knew Papias, you would know that no early church
they
father
were.
took
They
him.
were the bishop
You would know the early church
of
fathers.
Hierapolis.
You would know the early church fathers didn't take Papias seriously.
So is it not true that Irenaeus and Papias were the bishop of Hierapolis, and wasn't Hierapolis a teacher? And he knew the apostles as well. So wouldn't they all know each other?
What's
So
the
we're
evidence that
literally talking to
where's
people.
the evidence that Hierapolis knew the apostles? And that he gave this
So if
information to Irenaeus.
To me, that is the evidence. If
No,
they all
that's
lived in
no,
the
that's
same
the
time
claim.
period,
That's the claim. What's the evidence for the claim? So here, I'll go to New Advent.
the evidence is the document.
New
though. That
Advent.
you don't see that?
Yeah, newadvent.com. Here, I've got all the church fathers presented right here before me. Where does Irenaeus in any of his works claim that he knew Hierapolis, and that Hierapolis knew the apostles, and that he received the information on who wrote the Gospels from Hierapolis? I've got two works here. I got Against Heresies and Fragments from the Lost Writings of Irenaeus. Which one of these texts does he discuss this in?
Are you asking me?
Yes. I'm asking you to cite
Sorry,
resources.
say that one more time. The last part.
I've got two works here from Irenaeus of Lyons.
Mhm.
Adversus Heresias and the Fragments from the Lost Writings of Irenaeus. Which one of these works says that Irenaeus received information on who wrote the Gospels from Hierapolis, and Hierapolis knew the apostles?
I would say the second piece.
Fragments from the Lost Writings of Irenaeus.
Yeah, that's Go ahead. I don't really know which. Like I said, I will have to go back on my own research. But
Let's see if Hierapolis is even mentioned in this text. He is not.
yeah, I mean, to me, if Irenaeus clearly lived, if we have historical evidence and historical documents.
I don't care about ifs.
No, it's okay. So you're on the internet, so look it up. Irenaeus, he lived clearly between I believe 130 and 202 AD.
He wrote his works
in Gaul, right?
In 170 from 170 to 180 CE. So where does he tell us where he gets this information on who wrote the Gospels?
So Polycarp and Irenaeus knew each other, right? Polycarp and John knew each other.
Citation.
So wouldn't Irenaeus?
Citation.
I don't need citation. I
Yes,
just
you
remember
do.
from.
No, if you want me to believe this, you're gonna have to show me from Irenaeus' work that he knew.
I mean,
Polycarp,
I can do it.
and that
I'm saying I
Polycarp
can
knew
do it.
John.
I'm just saying for sake of content and time.
No,
maybe you can do it. You're right there on the computer. I'm literally just sitting down.
I'm not gonna do your homework for you. What you need to do is, if you're gonna make these claims, get us the receipt.
I'm sorry that I just remember my studies, sir. I'm sorry. I remember my studies.
Next time you come up,
But
and
if you
make
want me
claims,
to go on the internet and take time and go,
yes,
search the citations.
you can
and
go.
Fine, brother.
Yes, you
I
can
will.
go and do the research.
Take time.
Then you can come back to us with citations.
I know the research. I don't need to take citations. You want the citations?
No, yeah, because you're making a claim. I'm not going to.
I'd rather just continue with the.
Okay, then
I'd rather just continue with the conversation.
Then move on to a different point, because unless you can bring me citations from Irenaeus, I'm not going to believe you on this point.
Well, if you say Irenaeus didn't know any of the apostles, you act like that breaks the chain of.
He didn't know any of the apostles.
But I know, okay, but you act like that breaks the chain of historical evidence. History rarely works
I'm
like
saying
that.
that you don't have any. You haven't brought forward any evidence for why you've just made a bunch of claims.
I can bring forth evidence. I'm just
okay.
For the sake of time, we're just going to keep going.
Yeah. Then when you come on next time, bring the receipts for what you're saying.
Okay.
So until then, maybe you might want to go to a different point instead of just continuing to make claim after claim after claim.
I mean, I see no point because it's just going to say you're going to see bring up a citation. Um, but yeah, we can. I mean, I can go to a new point since we don't gotta, stick. We can get off
Sure.
the historical evidence.
I don't think I should become a Christian because Jesus wasn't even the Messiah. He didn't fulfill a single messianic prophecy.
But if you don't believe in the Gospels, of course you would think that.
No, even like if we like were to, if let's say I believe it was a Jewish person who believed in the Hebrew Bible, and then I took the Gospels as being accurately recounting the life of Jesus, he still didn't fulfill any prophecies from the Hebrew Bible.
So what about Micah 5:2 when Micah 5:2 predicted the Messiah would come from Bethlehem?
Well, it says
Jesus was clearly born there.
Well, not clearly, but I'll assume he was born there. Micah 5:2 doesn't say the Messiah will be born in Bethlehem, only that his going forth is from Bethlehem, and it says that he shall be a Moshel bat Yisrael, a ruler in Israel. Jesus was not a ruler in Israel.
So it was not Nazareth, not Jerusalem, not a random village. It was Bethlehem, right?
Lots of people from Bethlehem, but were any of those people rulers in Israel?
I'm just speaking on Micah 5:2 when it said that he would come from Bethlehem.
Yeah, but you, O Bethlehem Ephrathah, who are little to be. By the way, this doesn't mean that the person is coming from the city of Bethlehem. It means that his origin is in Bethlehem. He's a descendant of King David, who was from Bethlehem. But you, O Bethlehem Ephrathah, who are little among the clans of Judah, from you shall come forth for me one who is to be ruler in Israel, whose origin is from old, from ancient days. Jesus was never a ruler in Israel.
I mean, I can elaborate on that. Jesus' kingdom wasn't supposed to be of this world. The Messiah wasn't promised to be a political revolutionary.
Sounds like what I would. Well, I don't care because the text says ruler in Israel, not ruler in heaven.
Wait, Dalton. My partner's mom is from Bethlehem, and they're Palestinian. Their origins are from ancient. I could just claim
that Elias is the fulfillment of this.
Yes, spiritually, his kingdom is in heaven. Spiritually,
yeah. Anyone can make the claim that their kingdom is of heaven. But Micah says
ex-partner. I don't know. Did I say ex-partner? Ex-partner. My ex.
But Micah specifically says that this person will be a Moshel ba Yisrael, a ruler in Israel. Jesus was never a ruler in Israel.
Yeah, I think that's clearly it's got to be. It means it's spiritual and eternal.
Wow.
Jesus,
I mean, sure. Let's just
isn't over borders and armies.
All praise Elias. All praise Elias.
Yeah, Menachem Mendel Schneerson then is just as likely to be the king this king because he's supposedly a descendant of King David and he was a spiritual ruler. His people call him the Melech Mashiach, the King Messiah. So if you're just going to put things into the text that aren't there, I don't see anything in the text that says spiritual ruler. It just says Moshel bat Israel.
But look, billions still follow Jesus.
So what? Popularity contest. The prophecies are not a popularity contest. You don't become ruler in Israel because a lot of people like you. You become ruler in Israel by being coronated and sitting upon a throne and actually legislating within Israel, things which Jesus never did. King David did that. Even what's his fucking face? King Herod the Great did that, but Jesus never did that.
Yeah, I just think Jesus, Micah 5:2, or the part of Micah, it was on God's terms. It was not human expectations.
It says in the text, in Israel.
Yes, but the ruler isn't just political; it's spiritual, eternal, and supposed to be world-changing.
Where's that in Micah?
It doesn't have to be.
It does have to be. It does if you want me
be.
to believe that Jesus was the Messiah. Because if you're just going to sit here and say, well, he's a spiritual ruler, then guess what? I can just as easily believe that Menachem Mendel Schneerson was the Messiah.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go to the other messianic prophecy. What about Jeremiah 23 and 5 and 6, the lineage of David when he was promised to be a descendant of David and he would rule. Matthew 1 and Luke, I believe. Matthew 1 and
you
Luke
don't want to
3
do that.
trace.
You don't want to do that.
Matthew 1 and Luke 3, they both trace Jesus' genealogy back to David.
Well, there's a problem with both of those genealogies. First and foremost, according to the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus' genealogy is traced through David through Jeconiah, whose whole kingly lineage was cursed, so that no descendant of Jeconiah could be a king in Israel. Luke's gospel is also fucked because according to Luke's gospel, it's David through his son Nathan. It's only through Solomon's line, not Nathan's line, that the king of Israel is to come. And both are even more fucked because they're not actually Jesus' genealogies, because according to your beliefs, Jesus wasn't a descendant, was not a son of Joseph.
So you're saying again, because the Gospels messed that up, or you said you think the Gospels have
if
Matthew and Luke have different genealogies? That's what you're saying.
If Matthew is correct that Jesus' lineage comes to us through Jeconiah, then he can't be king in Israel, because that whole line was cursed, so that Jeconiah can anyone from Jeconiah cannot be a king of Israel.
But Matthew traces Jesus through Joseph to David via Solomon. Luke,
and Jeconiah is part
him via Nathan,
and Jeconiah,
another son of David.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Would Jesus still be is the sin of Jeconiah?
If Matthew gives the legal lineage through Joseph, showing Jesus' legal claim to David's throne.
Well, there's no on this nonsense.
And then Luke, I'm just giving it for Matthew gives the legal lineage, and then Luke gives the biological lineage, possibly through Mary, showing Jesus'
Luke does not
blood connection to David.
Luke does not give us a biological genealogy for Jesus. It's Joseph's lineage in the Gospel of Luke.
Luke shows Jesus' blood connection to David.
No, it doesn't.
And the ancient Jewish genealogies emphasize
was Jesus Joseph's son? Was he his biological son?
Clearly not.
Then the Gospel of Luke's genealogy is not Jesus' physical genealogy, because it's through Joseph, not Mary. The text says Joseph, not Mary. Luke chapter 3.
But we all clearly know through reading the other Gospels that it was through Mary.
Except for the genealogy in Luke is not Mary's genealogy. Luke 3:23, Jesus, when he began his ministry, was about 30 years of age, being the son, as was supposed, of Joseph, the son of Heli, the son of Mathat, the son of Levi, so on and so forth. This is, again, another one of Joseph's genealogies. It's just a contradictory genealogy.
So you think just because that text, you can't allow the author to just be himself and he doesn't want to mention Mary, he says Joseph?
Yeah.
Does that mean
when the author says
Jesus is not
when
Mary?
I take the author's word for when he says Joseph, he means Joseph and not Mary. Like, why would I insert Mary's name into Luke 3:23 when it's not there? No manuscript says that he was the son of Mary, the son of Heli. It says all of them say Joseph.
Yeah, I think it's just Luke doesn't explicitly mention Mary, but the genealogy is still historically and culturally consistent.
No,
like Joseph's line could represent Mary's bloodline legally.
It can't
fulfilling the David requirement.
No, because Luke's genealogy goes through David's son Nathan. It's not through Nathan that the kingship belongs. It's through Solomon.
But that's what it means. The differences between Matthew and Luke aren't mistakes. They're just complementary.
You can't use Matthew's either, because Matthew gives us that Jesus is a descendant of David through Jeconiah, and Jeconiah's lineage is cursed. This is what
you said. Sorry, say that again.
You can't use Matthew's either, because it goes through Jeconiah, and Jeconiah's lineage is cursed.
Jeremiah 22:30 for anybody who is wondering.
Yeah, thus saith Yahweh, write this man, Jeconiah, Write this man down as childless, a man who shall not succeed in his days, for none of his offspring shall succeed in sitting on the throne of David and ruling again in Judah. Jeremiah 22, verse 30. If Matthew's genealogy eliminates Jesus, and Luke's genealogy also eliminates Jesus.
Matthew still doesn't contradict Luke though.
It does. It's who's Joseph's father?
In which text?
In Matthew or Luke. Well, who's his father?
I have to look now.
Well, according to the Gospel of Matthew, Joseph's father's name is Jacob. According to the Gospel of Luke, Joseph's father's name is Heli. That he doesn't have two dads. That's not how that works.
Accidental ally.
Oh, Heli. So the lineage goes Adam, David, Nathan, Heli, Joseph, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Luke, how it's explained. I believe in Matthew, like you said, Joseph's father is listed as Jacob. The lineage goes Abraham, David, Solomon, Jacob, Joseph.
Yeah.
Matthew just chooses the legal royal line to emphasize Jesus is higher.
No, it can't be
the throne to David's throne.
It can't be the legal royal line because according to Jeremiah 22, is Jeconiah mentioned in Matthew chapter 1 in the genealogy?
Say that again.
Is Jeconiah mentioned in the what's verse chapter Matthew chapter 1 through chapter 1 verses 11 through 12 say? It says, and Josiah, the father of Jeconiah and his brothers at the time of the deportation to Babylon, and after the deportation to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, and Shealtiel the father of Zerubbabel. This tells me that this Matthew's genealogy goes through Jeconiah, but Jeremiah 22 tells me explicitly, quote, for none of his offspring shall succeed in sitting on the throne of David and ruling again in Judah.
Yeah, and so Jeconiah, Matthew lists Jeconiah in Joseph's lineage.
Yeah, so that eliminates that that would eliminate Jesus from being a king in Israel because he's descendant of Jeconiah.
No, it just means it's a direct hire on Jeconiah. That has nothing to do.
Matthew's genealogy absolutely disqualifies Jesus from being a king in Israel.
Why?
Because it's through Jeconiah. And what did Jeremiah say about Jeconiah?
Hold on, you said Matthew's genealogy
goes through Jeconiah. Matthew chapter 1, verses 11 through 12 tells us that the genealogy includes Jeconiah. And Jeremiah 22 tells us that Jeconiah cannot be, that none of his descendants could ruin Israel.
So what does that have to do with Jesus, though?
Jesus can't
the
be...
throne of David.
Yeah.
The throne of David. David's bloodline, or the bloodline that's... How are you not getting this?
He can't inherit David's throne. He cannot be king in Israel.
But that wasn't his point. He was not trying to be king of Israel.
That's what the prophets foretell. The Messiah will be the descendant of David who sits on David's throne as the king from the line of David. If Jesus did not do that, then he is not the Messiah.
So just because it has not been done yet, as we believe, as Christians, we believe that it hasn't been done yet.
It can't ever be done. It can't ever be done because, according to Matthew, he is a descendant of Jeconiah, and thus he can never be a king in Israel. Never. Thus saith Yahweh.
Matthew includes Jeconiah to show the legal line to David
that whole lineage is disqualified because of Jeconiah. How is this? How is this going over your head? Guest Q. What does Jeremiah tell us about Jeconiah and his descendants? Can they be kings in Israel?
in Israel, in the physical earthly Israel.
Yeah, does the
No, they cannot.
okay? Jesus cannot be the king prophesied by the Hebrew Bible, because the Hebrew Bible doesn't say jack squat about the Messiah ruling from a heavenly Jerusalem or anything nonsense like that. It only describes him as ruling in the land of Israel. Therefore, Jesus is disqualified. If we're going to insert spiritual rulership, then guess what? I can say any Jewish person is the Messiah. They'll just fulfill it when they return, because it's all spiritual.
I just feel like that collapses because Jeconiah's curse applies to, again, political power, not the spiritual kingship.
And you cannot
David's throne.
You
It
can't-
is David's throne.
You cannot show me where in the Hebrew Bible it ever makes a claim that the rulership would not be on David's throne, but in heaven. The prophets specifically tell us it is David's throne that the Messiah will rule on.
Yeah.
All right, listen. I think I've thoroughly cooked you. I don't think you have anything to add to this conversation. And
No, I just think we just at a standstill. I think we're just arguing
over the meaning of the text.
over
Yes.
lineages and
Because Jesus can't be.
who a curse applies to.
Yeah, you just don't have reading comprehension, and that's your problem. Oh, wait. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for the likes and for the shares. And we will...
Did Godless want to come up really quick and talk about...
Yeah.
I think...
John, are you still here?
I believe they... Well, they were a second ago.
Just to make sure, we'll give him a second to come up if he's still in the...
Yeah, if you're available, I sent you another invite, John.
Yeehaw!
He might not be available. I know that he had some background. He's in the chat. I don't know if he's listening, but yeah.
That's fine. He can... John, if you see this at a later time, just message me and tell me about this conference. Hey, everyone. Thank you for tapping that screen and for sharing the live, and make sure that you have, if you haven't already, that you subscribe to Ashland's TikTok channel, and that you subscribe to my TikTok channel and the Bible Guy YouTube channel. We'll be pushing this live up on on the YouTube stream by the end of the night, and we'll see you again tomorrow, maybe on the deconstruction zone.
Wait. Who we raiding? Who we raiding?
Oh, yep. Thank you for that. Let's take a look. Let's see who's live right now. Who can send?
Oh, there's Godless.
Oh, here we go. Hey, bud.
Hey. So sorry about earlier. I was getting my I was getting food, and I walked in right as soon as I was accepted up earlier. So that's my bad.
You're good. Well, so what's this conference about?
Oh yeah, so it's called Rocket City Reason. We have a website up that I designed myself in like the matter of about 3 days. But it's rocketcityreason.com, and we're gonna have a lot of really great people there. We've got Seth Andrews doing the keynote. We've got Forrest Valkai and Erica Gutsick Gibbon also doing keynotes at the end of the day, and then we've got panels throughout the day where we're talking about various different, topics, like content creation. We've got, I don't know if y'all know Black Atheist Rants, that's here on TikTok.
The name sounds familiar. By the way, to the person in the comment section who's probably a Black Hebrew Israelite who said, "Children of Esau, I know you are, but what am I?" That's what my response to you is. Anyways, continue, John.
No, it's fine. But yeah, so we've got a bunch of different creators that are going to be coming on there. Y'all know Jesus on Follower?
Jesus on Follower?
Unfollower.
Jesus Unfollower. No, I don't. These are all new names that I'm learning.
Okay.
So it's an opportunity for me to learn more people in the community.
Oh yeah, he's a pretty decent creator in the community. But so we got a content creation panel that's going to be happening. We've got an community building and activism panel. We've got one other panel. I can't remember right now what the title of that is, but just Rocket City Reason. the tickets are already up. We've got a Friday night thing where we're doing a drag show and Alabama barbecue, and then on Sunday morning, we are going to be taking a group trip to the Space and Rocket Center. That's here in Huntsville.
Hell yeah, that
So
sounds like a fun time. So everyone, make sure that you are subscribed to Godless Engineers so you can keep up to date on all this happenings. And so we can support each other here in the deconstruction community. Thank you for the gold medal.
Godless Engineers YouTube channel has tons of great conversations with people, especially a lot of information and scholarship. I know you've talked to I know you know Richard Carrier and a lot of different people. Definitely go follow on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok as well. I know you're trying to grow your TikTok channel as to you, Godless.
yeah, definitely. Trying to get that. I'm trying to do lives as much as I can, but I work 40 or more hours a week, and then
I get it.
Everything else. So yeah,
I'm still working full time too. It's hard to find the time to do this. I'm hoping that one day I can just do this full time because fuck this work shit. I would love to be able to pour my whole entire being into this and make it the best for everyone as possible I can.
Yeah, definitely. Same here. But yeah, for everybody in the chat, it's Rocket City Reason. It is Huntsville, Alabama is where it's at. So we're kind of centrally located here in the South. But the tickets are we got an early bird thing going on right now for like $84, I think, is what the Saturday, the full conference is for. And then, the Alabama barbecue dinner and drag show is one ticket, and then the Space and Rocket Center is another ticket. So, everything's there. And, I can't wait to see everybody next year. It'll be next year on the October 23rd through the 25th, I believe.
Hell yeah.
Is when we're planning on doing it. So we're more than a year out. I'm planning on doing a whole bunch of lead up stuff, little mini events, probably some little mini panels or whatnot to promote the conference and whatever.
Lathe of Heaven says, will it be streamed?
Well, so we probably won't stream it. There is going to be a live The Line call-in show from the hotel that night. So we're going to be having a whole bunch of the Line people there, as well as we're going to have a featured guest list that's going to be on the website too, so that y'all will know who's going to be out there. But that's the only part that's going to be live. But we do plan on recording things, and we're going to give everybody that's taking part in it, all the speakers and everything like that. We're giving them the ability to post it on their own stuff. But I'll also have a playlist for Rocket City Reason 2026.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
Well, thank you for telling us about that, Godless. And everyone, we're gonna send a Bible guy raid to Tiny Science. Here, I'm gonna write their username in the comments so if you aren't familiar with them. Tiny
Science he's a great creator.
Yeah, there you go, guys, in the comment section. Go follow. Tell them the Bible guy sent you.
Yeah, I got to jump off, but thank you so much for letting me up and sort of spreading awareness about this. And I'll see you later there, Dalton.
I'll see you later too, John.
And Ashlyn.
Bye. Yeah, it's nice to see you. It's been forever since I deleted my Facebook Messenger. We don't talk anymore.
Yeah, I know. All right. Y'all have a great night.
You too.
Bye.